Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. Chapter 1. The Initial Beast, the Qualifications of a Superior Demon, Update, Qua Academy. Old School Building. Chiba Akira pushed open the door and stepped inside. He had been invited here as a guest. The one who invited him was named Ryaz Greemery. She was a young woman whose talent, strength, and beauty were all considered top tier. Of course, aside from these innate qualities, she was also somewhat of a decorative piece. But even as a decorative piece, she was the most exquisite, the most lavishly adorned one. The younger sister of Amao, the next head of a pure-blooded demon family, a stunning beauty with an enviable figure, and a wielder of the power of destruction. These titles were more than enough to prove her excellence and nobility. Noticing Akira's arrival, Raya smiled politely and uncrossed her legs. The sight of the noble red-haired beauty's smooth, jade-like thighs instantly caught Akira's attention. Fair ladies are the desire of gentlemen, as the saying goes. Moreover, Akira knew full well that Ryaz was intentionally showing off for him. If she was deliberately putting on a display, it would be hypocritical of him to pretend not to notice. Akira wasn't that ascetic. He made no effort to hide his gaze. Ryaz, too, noticed Akira's eyes wandering over her chest and thighs. However, far from being offended, she instead smiled with satisfaction. Akira had succubus blood in him. If he was drawn to her, it only proved her charm. Kano, serve the tea. Yes, President. After Ryaz gave the order, a black-haired Yamato Nadeshiko in a shrine maiden outfit gracefully poured the tea. The one serving the tea was named Akano Himejima, Ryaz's queen. At school, Akano was a beauty on par with Ryaz, a senior known for her elegance. One was Western style, the other Japanese style. If the two were to overlap, it would undoubtedly create a unique flavor. Akira took a sip of the tea, and the refreshing aroma soothed his mood. As expected of Akano-san, your tea-making skills are truly unparalleled. Akano lightly covered her lips with her hand and smiled. To receive praise from Akira-sama is truly an honor. By the way, this tea is so good. Could I get a cup for my Aguman as well? Akira wasn't the type to keep good things to himself. Aguman had grown up with him and was always by his side. If he had something good, Aguman deserved a share too. Aguman? Ryaz was momentarily taken aback, a flicker of displeasure crossing her eyes, but she quickly suppressed it. Aguman. That's the monster that's always by your side, right? The reason Ryaz was a bit upset was that she hadn't expected Akira to ask for tea for a monster. To put it bluntly, it could even be seen as a slight against her. Kano, prepare another cup of tea. Use a larger teacup. Though slightly annoyed, Ryaz still agreed to Akira's request. After all, she had invited him here because she needed his help. A few minutes later, a much larger teacup appeared on the table. Ryaz had specifically switched to a lower-grade teacup, but then again, it was only natural for Ryaz, a pure-blooded demon, to look down on monsters. It was my fault. If I could have fed Aguman more resources and helped him evolve into War Greymon, our lives would have been much better. Aguman, come out. Try this tea. It's really good. A flash of light. A yellow dinosaur-like monster emerged from the contract in Akira's hand. Walking up to the table, Aguman didn't gulp down the tea or lap it up like a typical monster. Instead, he lifted the teacup and drank it like a human would. His posture was even more elegant than that of Ryaz, a high-class demon. This display of human-like behavior surprised both Ryaz and Akano. Akira-kun, could it be that this Aguman has mutated? Are you planning to raise him as your queen? Ryaz asked curiously. Many high-class demons would start grooming their queens from a young age. Among a high-class demon's servants, the queen held the highest status. If this Aguman was destined to be Akira's queen, then her earlier behavior might have been somewhat rude. She simply didn't want a lowly monster using her belongings. But if this monster possessed human-like intelligence and formidable power, that was a different story. Hearing this, Akira shook his head. Ryaz, it's too early for me to think about queens. I'm not like you. I'm not a pure-blooded demon, and I don't have any evil pieces yet. If Akira truly had pure-blooded demon heritage, he wouldn't be struggling to feed a Guman. Wouldn't it be easier to just use the resources himself? Ah, right. Raya seemed to remember something and quickly changed the subject. Actually, Akira-kun, I called you here because I have 2 pieces of good news to share. Oh? 2? That's unexpected. Akira had thought Ryaz called him here just for their usual transactions. He hadn't expected any surprises. First, the monster corpses and blood you asked me to collect. This dragon-type monster has strength equivalent to a mid-tier demon, so it wasn't cheap. Its essence is here, and the corpse is in this box. Ryaz presented a tray. On the tray were a small silver box and a red vial. The vial contained the monster's essence, while the box held the corpse stored within a spatial array. Since we've done this so many times, I won't bother checking. Akira stored the monster corpse and essence in his pocket. These were the items he had asked Ryaz to find for him. They would help a Guman grow stronger. Although he also had connections with the fallen angels to obtain resources for a Guman's evolution, maintaining ties with the demon side was equally important. That's the first piece of good news. I'm curious about the second one, Akira said with interest. The second piece of good news. Ryaz licked her lips and smiled mysteriously. The second piece of good news is this. Snap. Ryaz snapped her fingers, and a crimson light filled the room. On the table, within a teleportation array, an exquisite gift box slowly materialized. Evil pieces. Akira narrowed his eyes. The item inside the beautiful gift box was none other than a set of evil pieces. That's right, evil pieces. Akira-kun, the second piece of good news is that, after approval from the underworld, you've been granted the right to possess evil pieces. Ryaz, isn't it usually only high-class demons who can possess evil pieces? Are you sure it's okay to give them to a low-class demon like me? Akira asked, puzzled. It's fine after all, Akira-kun, you're now the inheritor of the Leviathan bloodline. If the inheritor of a true Ma'au's bloodline doesn't even have his own evil pieces, it would make the underworld a laughingstock among other factions, Ryaz explained with a wave of her hand. So that's how it is. The reason for giving me the pieces is roughly what I expected, but if the underworld is starting to care about appearances, it means the demon faction is preparing to form alliances with other pantheons. Well, since they're right in front of me, I'll have to accept them graciously. Akira reached out and formally established a contract with the set of evil pieces. Chapter 2, the political benchmark of the current Demon King. Update, there were no major waves. Soon, Akira's information was successfully registered. From today onwards, he could also call himself a king. The thought of being able to call himself a king with the strength of a low-class demon made Akira want to laugh. This was the demon world bloodline above all, power above all, above all. Akira was a transmigrator. Over a decade ago, he had crossed over into this world. However, his transmigration was rather ordinary. No golden finger, no special talents. What he had was a trace of succubus bloodline, a trace of Leviathan bloodline, and a companion Digimon. But even a trace of Leviathan's bloodline was enough to draw the attention of the underworld. There was no helping it. The current 4 great demon kings needed a political symbol. The current 4 great demon kings were not the original ones. After the original 4 great demon kings died in battle, their bloodline successors continued to rule the demon race. Those who inherited the bloodline of the original demon kings are now referred to as the old demon kings. After the war between the 3 major factions ended, a rift formed within the demon race. The result of this rift was a civil war among the demons. The current 4 great demon kings emerged victorious from the civil war and became the new demon kings. Meanwhile, those who inherited the bloodline of the original demon kings were demoted to the old demon kings. The old demon kings and their faction refused to accept the changes in the underworld and would not bow to the new demon kings. Some chose to hide, while others fled. And Akira, it was said, was one of the small fry who didn't escape and was eventually found. Because the new demon kings needed political legitimacy, Akira, this small fry, was suddenly elevated to the status of Leviathan bloodline successor. Not only that, but he was also given a beautiful and powerful fiancée. The current demon king Lucifer married the heir of the house of Lucifuge, Greyfile Lucifuge, who had previously served the old demon king Lucifer, thereby legitimizing his claim to the title of Lucifer. And the current demon king Leviathan married the successor of the Leviathan bloodline. Which was Akira. That's right. Akira's fiancé was none other than one of the 4 great demon kings of the underworld, Seraphal Leviathan. If nothing unexpected happened, Akira would marry into the family upon reaching adulthood and become the husband of the current demon king, Seraphal Leviathan. However, unexpected events did occur. 3 years ago, news came from the underworld that his fiancée had been changed to the younger sister of the current Leviathan Sunasaitre. Akira understood why this change happened. Because he was just a speck of dust in the grand scheme of things, a tool used by the new demon kings to maintain stability and demonstrate their authority. As times progressed, his usefulness diminished. He had to do something before his value completely disappeared. To avoid a tragic ending in this world full of overpowered characters, Akira had been making multiple preparations. He devoted himself to studying and practicing chess, familiarizing himself with the rules of raiding games. Using the resources he gained from his status as a true demon king, he purchased monster corpses and essence to help his Digimon grow stronger as quickly as possible. He searched for powerful sacred gears and Longinus in the original storyline, hoping to find one compatible with him and transplant it into himself. He used his innate abilities and knowledge of the future to establish connections with key characters, such as Azazel, Baraka-Eel, the White Dragon Emperor, Lavinia, Griselda, Saira Org, Ravel, and many others. He intercepted certain characters who could be recruited without risk, such as Gasper, Irina, and Asia. So far, Akira's plans were progressing smoothly. In about 3 or 4 months, his Digimon would evolve into a Greymon. Because of this, Akira didn't want to be dumped so soon. Being dumped would mean his value would drop again. Being dumped would mean fewer resources in the future. Even if it was just to freeload more, Akira didn't want to be dumped so easily. By the way, Akira, aside from these 2 matters, I'd like to make a deal with you. Finally, Ryaz got to the real point of this meeting. A deal? What kind of deal? Akira couldn't think of anything he could offer Ryaz in a deal. Could it be that she already knew he had obtained the boosted gear? Under Akira's gaze, Ryaz set down her teacup and smiled gently. Akira, how about this, 5 years worth of monster resources in exchange for you temporarily acting as my fiancé? Akira raised an eyebrow, thought for a few seconds, and replied, Ryaz, you should know that I already have a fiancé. Even if you want to use me as a shield, the underworld would never approve. Hearing this, Ryaz pursed her lips and smiled softly. That's right, Akira, you're Suna's fiancé, so even if I said we were in love, the underworld wouldn't accept it. However, there's always an exception. Ryaz, are you saying? Akira narrowed his eyes. Akira, you should understand what I mean. That's right, Sona is currently thinking of how to break off the engagement with you. I see. So, Ryaz, what's your plan? Akira took a sip of tea. He had already anticipated this. My plan is for us to coordinate our stories and tell everyone that we're in love. This way, I'll have a reason to stall my brother and the old-timers in the underworld. Once I graduate from university, we can peacefully break up. By then, I'll have the freedom I want and more power to resist the underworld. And you, Akira, will get the resources you need from me. Ryaz's idea was excellent. Or rather, it aligned perfectly with Akira's interests. Akira had already felt that his engagement with Sona wouldn't last and had planned to milk a few more years of resources to help his Digimon evolve. Now, a 5-year guaranteed contract was right in front of him. Why not take it? Ryaz, can you pay it all at once? For 5 years, probably not. But for 1 year, I can. Ryaz thought for a moment and replied. Alright, I agree to this deal. Great. Then, Akira, from now on, we're partners. Let's wish ourselves a successful collaboration. Ryaz smiled and extended her hand. Their hands met in the air, and after shaking, they exchanged a knowing smile. Plan successful. Chapter 3, System Awakening, The Coming Fallen Angel, Update, the contract was set. Ryaz paid the price to enlist Akira, using him as a shield. And Akira, willingly, became a mercenary. After all, he was poor. Moreover, his status as the Leviathan bloodline successor was about to lose its value. He had to cash in before it completely dried up, squeezing out the last bit of worth. Thus, when leaving the old school building, Akira's pockets were filled with a dozen small boxes. This was the deposit Ryaz had given him. The remaining monster corpses would be gathered by Ryaz as soon as possible. A year's worth should be enough for my Digimon to evolve. This is also thanks to Ryaz. Although she's using me, that's just how the world works. Using me and mutually benefiting from it is a recognition of my value. If no one even wants to use you, it just proves your incompetence. After silently thanking Ryaz, Akira took one last look at the old school building. Coincidentally, at that moment, Ryaz was also standing by the window, watching Akira leave. After a few seconds of eye contact, perhaps due to Akira's succubus bloodline, Ryaz was the first to look away. Just based on looks, Akira is much better than Riser. It's just a shame that demons value strength and bloodline above all. For demons, strength and bloodline were the true measures of beauty and justice. Only after Ryaz left the window did Akira withdraw his gaze. Just as he did, he heard a voice echoing from the depths of his soul. Ding! Detected that the storyline has reached the starting point. System activating. Ding. Congratulations, host, for activating the multiverse villain sign-in system. Complete sign-ins or villainous events to receive system rewards. Reward levels are divided into rainbow, gold, silver, purple, and blue. The more difficult the sign-in task, the stronger or rarer the target, the higher the reward. Listening to the system's notifications, Akira was stunned for a long time. When he finally regained his composure, he only said one thing. Damn. A system. The unexpected awakening of a golden finger completely disrupted Akira's original plans. Now, his previous strategies were obsolete, and many things needed to be reconsidered. The system's notifications weren't finished yet. While Akira was processing everything, the system continued to update. Ding. Congratulations, host, for triggering a villain sign-in level, silver, sign-in type, event sign-in event, seize the Red Dragon Emperor, requirement, seize the boosted gear. As everyone knows, to conquer a world, you must first prevent the protagonist from gaining power. So, go and take the boosted gear. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The cheat is right in front of you, why not take it? Seize the boosted gear. This task. Akira looked at the system interface, feeling conflicted. This task was awkward. The boosted gear. He had already obtained it long ago. As a reincarnated transmigrator, he had memories of his past life from birth. So, from a very early age, Akira had been plotting to obtain the boosted gear. Now, the boosted gear was already in his possession. However, due to the imperfect technology he acquired from the fallen angels, he had only used the boosted gear once before it became unusable. The system seemed equally surprised that the host had already completed the task, pausing for a moment. Ding. Congratulations, host, for completing the sign-in task, sign-in level, silver, sign-in event, seize the Red Dragon Emperor. Congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, Sacred Gear Fusion and Evolution. Sacred Gear Fusion and Evolution. Fusion, perfectly fuse with the Sacred Gear, removing all dragon-related weaknesses and erasing the consciousness of the Red Dragon Emperor, turning it into a masterless dragon soul. Evolution, fully release the dragon soul, allowing it to fuse with other dragon souls and continuously increase its potential. Additional evolution ability, Sacred Gear Sharing. After evolution, the host can share the dragon soul with others. One dragon soul can be shared with one person. Note, only after fully conquering the target, taking their body and mind, and infusing them with the host's power or essence can the sacred gear be shared. As the system's notifications rang out, the boosted gear, hidden in Akira's secret space, broke free. A crimson light flew out from Akira's chest and shot back into his body. Instantly, the dragon soul merged with Akira's body. A powerful dragon aura briefly manifested at Qua Academy before quickly fading away. Akira didn't stay at Qua Academy any longer. After awakening his golden finger, he left the academy as quickly as possible. Then, at the school gate, he saw a black-haired beauty wearing a uniform from another school. Seemingly sensing Akira's arrival, the black-haired girl stopped leaning against the gate and flashed a bright smile. With a warm and enthusiastic smile, Amano Yoma, also known as Rainer, walked toward Akira, appearing slightly shy. Seeing this, Akira raised an eyebrow. He knew this person. Amano Yoma, real name Rainer, a mid-level fallen angel stationed in Kuat Town by the Fallen Angel faction. In the original storyline, she was tasked by her superiors to approach the protagonist, Sai Hayautu, and observe if he possessed any unique traits. She pretended to confess to Sai, playing with the virgin boy's emotions from a position of superiority. Finally, after losing interest, she gave Sai death. Now, with the storyline altered, why was Reina actively approaching him? Hello, Akira. I'm Amano Yama. Reina closed her eyes, extended her hand, and put on the act of a shy, courageous girl. Akira had to admit, Reina had a pure aura, radiating the vibe of a first love type of girl. Any inexperienced boy would find it hard to resist such a beautiful and proactive girl. Miss Amano Yama, do we know each other? Akira genuinely didn't know Reina. At least, according to his backstory, he didn't. While he had established cooperation with the fallen angels in Kuat Town, his contacts were Reina's friends, the cosplay-loving, white-stockinged low-eye fallen angel Mitalt, and the black-stockinged, long-legged beauty Kulawarna. As for Reina, he wasn't familiar with her. Just as he finished tasking, the system's notifications sounded again. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain sign-in level, purple, sign-in type, event sign-in event, first love get, requirement, establish a romantic relationship with Reina, who was disguised as Amano Yama. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain sign-in level, silver, sign-in type, event sign-in event, Complete Fallen Angel collection in the starting area. Requirement: recruit trainer, Midalt, and Kulawarna as your servants. Note: if you recruit them without using violence, the reward level will be upgraded to gold. Chapter 4. First girlfriend. As Akira was observing Amano Yama was also sizing him up. Is this the person Lord Azazel asked me to collect data on? He looks quite handsome, but unfortunately, he's too weak. Well, I'll just finish collecting his bodily fluids data quickly. To complete the mission assigned by her superiors, Amano Yama decided to take a bold approach. Even though Akira-san doesn't know me, I've known about Akira-san for a long time. As she spoke, a charming blush spread across Amano Yama's cheeks. You know me? Akira wasn't sure which version of himself Amano Yama was referring to. That's right. Akira-san, I know you. You're the top student in your year at Kwa Academy, and you're quite famous in other schools too. Amano Yama brushed her hair behind her ear, perfectly portraying the image of a shy, reserved girl who wanted to show her best side. So, Miss Amano Yama, what brings you to me? Akira asked. Akira-san. I came to confess my feelings. Amano Yama put on the appearance of a girl mustering up the courage to confess. I really like Akira-san. Akira-san, would you please go out with me? With that, Amano Yama looked up and rushed toward Akira. The innocent black-haired beauty wrapped her arms around Akira's neck and pressed her lips to his. Akira didn't resist. Coincidentally, he wanted to conduct an experiment. Lately, he had noticed that the blonde maid at home had been looking at him strangely. Late at night, she would leave her room door open while using silent water magic, calling out his name as she did so. During the day, after meals, the blonde maid would collect his utensils and even lick his spoon. Every time he finished bathing, his underwear would already be taken away by her. So, Akira wanted to use Amano Yama as a comparison. He wanted to find out. Was it his succubus bloodline awakening? Or was the maid at home just a perverted stalker? Amano Yama's violet eyes were filled with tenderness, and her arms unconsciously tightened around Akira, as if trying to merge him into her body. MMM. She couldn't help but lose herself in the moment. A few minutes later, Akira gently pushed Amano Yama away. Looking at her dazed expression and flushed cheeks, Akira had reached a conclusion. It seemed his succubus bloodline had indeed awakened. I'm sorry, I just like Akira-kun so much. Amano Yama lowered her blushing face. She was genuinely embarrassed. She didn't know what had come over her, but she had unconsciously responded and matched Akira's actions. Wasn't she just supposed to collect his bodily fluids data? Seeing Amano Yama's reaction, Akira nodded in satisfaction. He had already reached his conclusion. It's fine, I like Yama-chan too. From today on, we're in a relationship. As your boyfriend, can I do it again? Akira's experiment had entered its second phase. Amano Yama hesitated. She instinctively wanted to accept. But something felt off. Akira smiled and, while Amano Yama was still hesitating, gently lifted her smooth chin. This time, Akira took the initiative. A few minutes later, Amano Yama's body felt weak, her gaze soft, as if she had become a completely different person. Yes. Akira-kun, since we both feel the same way, let's start dating. Amano Yama looked at Akira with hopeful eyes. This had nothing to do with her mission. She genuinely wanted to be with Akira. This feeling was intoxicating. Her intimate contact with Akira reminded her of the reason she had fallen from heaven. Wasn't this the kind of freedom and joy she had been seeking? Yama-chan, as your boyfriend, I'll be counting on you from now on. With the experiment complete, Akira hugged Amano Yama. The girl's refreshing scent was comforting to Akira. It was a mix of innocence and allure, perfectly embodying Amano Yama's unique charm. Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the villain check-in level, purple, check-in type, event check-in event, first love acquired. Congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, secret sword technique, a technique derived from Miki Kurogane's secret sword skills, consisting of 7 powerful moves that can adapt to almost any combat situation. The host's secret sword technique is no longer limited to swords. Even without a sword, using claws or even just the body, the host can unleash the essence of the secret sword technique. The secret sword technique is quite a powerful skill. However, compared to sword skills, I'd rather enhance my own strength. Demons are a race that relies on vast amounts of magical power and various magical traits to overpower their enemies. Akira wasn't particularly interested in sword techniques. Of course, having it was better than not. He couldn't rely solely on long-range attacks, so learning some close combat skills was necessary. In the original story, Diodora had prided himself on his immense magical power, only to be crushed by the original protagonist's balance breaker. Overpowering with brute force? Could it compare to the Red Dragon Emperor's overwhelming strength? After that, it was time for their date. Amano Yoma had originally planned to kiss him and leave, purely for the mission. But now, she was on a date with Akira. Because she couldn't refuse his requests. The two visited many places. A cafe. Amano Yoma watched Akira's used straw and couldn't help but swallow hard. A lingerie store. Amano Yama pulled Akira into the fitting room, asking him to pick out his favorite styles. A movie theater. The dim lighting suited Amano Yama's mood perfectly, and she sat reversed in her seat, engaging in intimate exchanges with Akira. Finally, at the clock tower. Under the breathtaking sunset, Amano Yama, filled with girlish emotions, embraced Akira, engaging in a passionate exchange that lasted half an hour. Akira-kun. Let's meet again tomorrow after school for another date. Amano Yama waved goodbye with a smile. Today, she was more than satisfied. Akira watched Amano Yama's departing figure, then looked at his own hand. I wonder when my succubus bloodline awakened. It was supposed to be just a trace, so why is the effect so overpowering? Maybe I've been going in the wrong direction from the start? If I had made Seraphal fall for me when I was a child, I could have been living off the Demon King's wealth by now. After sighing, Akira turned his gaze to a dark corner of the street. You've been watching for a while now, haven't you? Why don't you come out and show yourself? As soon as he finished speaking, a blond young man stepped out of the shadows. Akira Leviathan, what did you do to the fallen angel's boss? The blond young man raised a gun, ready to shoot at a moment's notice. This gun could fire light bullets that were effective against demons, a standard weapon for church priests. Freed. Akira narrowed his eyes, calling out the blonde priest's name. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, purple, check-in type, event check-in event, the fallen priest send, requirement, kill the fallen priest. Freed, eliminating the risk of your high-dimensional succubus bloodline being discovered, a system mission? Perfect timing. Akira slowly walked toward Freed. The moment he called out Freed's name, he had already decided to kill him. Chapter 5, Rainer, has your mission been completed? Freed was a priest. However, unlike ordinary exorcist priests, he enjoyed torturing and killing his targets, reveling in chaos and freedom. As a result, he was expelled from the church and became a fallen priest. He colluded with the fallen angels in Kwa Town, living a life where he could kill as he pleased. Today, he received a cover mission from Rainer. If Rainer failed in her task, he was to step in, ambush, and cover her retreat. But things took a completely unexpected turn. Rainer was actually on a date with the mission target. Wasn't she supposed to extract his bodily fluids and leave? He had initially planned to report the situation. But who would have thought that Akira would discover his presence and even call out his name? This meant that Akira might have known about their existence and their objectives from the very beginning. In that case, he couldn't be allowed to live. Freed believed that Akira had to be eliminated. Coincidentally, Akira had no intention of letting Freed go either. Aguman, go. Understood, Akira. A golden light shot out from Akira's hand, blocking Freed's escape route. A mere lowly beast. Freed raised his light sword and charged straight at Akira. In a 2-on-1 fight, it's common sense to take out the trainer first. Bring it on. Akira raised his hand, and an artificial sacred gear materialized. While most artificial sacred gears weren't particularly powerful, they had one undeniable advantage: extremely high compatibility, meaning almost anyone could use them freely. Akira's sacred gear was called the Dragon Slayer Sword of Light and Darkness, a prototype created by a 12-winged fallen angel. With a sacred gear sword and sword techniques at his disposal, Akira was eager to test the power of his secret sword technique. Idiot. Who said I was going to use a sword? Bang. Freed sneered and pulled the trigger. Clang, the sound of metal clashing. Akira held the Dragon Slayer sword horizontally in front of him, perfectly blocking the light bullet. The secret sword technique not only granted Akira powerful sword skills but also gave him a deep understanding of swordsmanship. Who did you call an idiot? Akira looked up and charged at Freed alongside Aguman. Humphrey. Just a puppet propped up by a demon king. Freed ignored Aguman and continued to rush toward Akira. As long as he took out Akira, the yellow beast behind him would naturally disappear. Bang 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 bang. While firing his light gun, Freed searched for the perfect angle. Clang 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 clang. Akira used the Dragon Slayer sword to block Freed's attacks while closing the distance between them. Clang. The loudest clash yet. The Dragon Slayer sword collided with Freed's light sword. The sharp Dragon Slayer sword instantly tore through the light sword. However, Freed's sneer only widened. I was waiting for you to clash with me. In a sword clash, there's no way to block a light bullet. Bang. The light bullet fired. Clang. Despite the Dragon Slayer sword being occupied, the sound of the light bullet being blocked still rang out. What? Freed's eyes widened in shock. On Akira's chest, The Red Dragon Emperor's Gauntlet appeared, and with its defensive power, Akira easily blocked the light bullet. Boost, the green jewel flashed with dazzling light, and Akira's attributes instantly doubled. Second secret sword, Armor Splitter. Akira channeled force from his lower body to his waist, unleashing a point-blank slash. This zero-distance slash was akin to a close-range punch delivered with a sword. Rip. The Dragon Slayer sword cut through Freed's midline. At the same time, Agumon's claws pierced through Freed's heart. My lord. With his final words, Freed collapsed at Agumon's feet. Ding. Congratulations, host, for completing the villain check-in level, purple, check-in event. The Fallen Priest send, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, weapon hand integration, sword, weapon hand integration, sword, allows the integration and absorption of all weapons of the same type, enhancing their power. By continuously feeding it weapons of the same type, it will eventually merge and transform into the strongest sword in the world. Note, the Dragon Slayer Sword of Light and Darkness can be integrated into the Sacred Gear Red Dragon Emperor's Gauntlet, allowing free use and summoning. The Red Dragon Emperor's Gauntlet can grow stronger by absorbing dragon souls. Weapon hand integration can grow stronger by absorbing sword-type weapons. Agumon can grow stronger by absorbing purified data from dragon-type beasts. It seems I'll need to earn more money and engage in more trades. Akira rubbed his temples, feeling a headache coming on. What a purebred workaholic. Meanwhile, Reina returned to the Fallen Angel's hideout. A blonde twin-tailed girl in white lace Lolita attire greeted her. Her name was Mitelt, Reina's Fallen Angel companion. The moment Mitelt saw Reina, she noticed something was off. Reina, you seem to be in a good mood today? Well, you could say that Reina subconsciously didn't want to tell Mitelt what had happened. So, did you complete your mission? Mission? What mission? Reina's eyes suddenly cleared. That's right, the mission. Reina swallowed hard. Today had been so enjoyable that she had completely forgotten about her mission. As for the bodily fluids she had collected earlier, she had already absorbed them without thinking. If you don't complete the mission, Lord Azazel will be disappointed, Mitelt reminded her. Lord Azazel will be disappointed. Reina pondered for a few seconds, her expression gradually darkening. Tomorrow, I will definitely complete the mission. However, I've discovered that the man has some unique qualities. I want to investigate further as his lover. Reina's explanation came with a subtle expression. Investigate further? As his lover? Reina, what's wrong with you? Did you take some kind of love potion? Mitelt knew that Reina was infatuated with the fallen angel governor, Azazel, and had always longed for his attention. As a devoted follower, shouldn't she have completed the mission and immediately reported to Azazel, requesting a transfer back to the fallen angel's headquarters? The next evening, after their date, Reina returned to the fallen angel's hideout, once again in high spirits. Reina, did you complete your mission? Priest Freed has gone missing. Should we investigate? This time, it was a blue-haired fallen angel beauty, Kalawarna, who reminded her. Mission? Mission. Just mentioning the mission made Reina recall her intimate moments with Akira, and she felt herself getting wet. Next time, for sure. Reina laughed awkwardly, once again postponing the mission. In truth, it was only because Akira's succubus bloodline hadn't fully awakened yet. Otherwise, on the first day, Akira could have taken things all the way. Chapter 6, The Evolution of Agumon. On the other side. The next evening, after completing his date with Amano Yoma, Akira returned to his study. After 2 days of going all out in purifying the data, Akira had finally completed the data purification needed for Agumon. Soon, I will have a Greymon with strength equivalent to a high-class demon. Akira was thrilled. Agumon was incredibly powerful. Previously, Agumon's strength was at the peak of mid-class demons, but it had the terrifying potential to rival high-class demons. Once evolved, wouldn't Greymon be invincible among high-class demons? Just as Akira was getting excited, he suddenly heard the system's notification. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, silver, check-in type, location check-in location, a set of high-class demon pieces. Akira pondered for a few seconds, unsure how to react. Is this system only capable of giving out the easiest check-ins? While complaining, Akira took out his own set of demon pieces. Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the villain check-in level, silver, check-in location, demon pieces, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, exceptional pieces, a higher tier version of the original demon pieces, allowing the pieces to break through the original racial limits and continuously grow stronger, significantly enhancing the talent of the piece's owner. The stronger the user's luck and the more they appear in the plot, the greater the talent enhancement. Note, as the king, The host can use the abilities of their servants and has complete control over them. As long as the target is in an unresisting state, the pieces can be forcibly implanted. The exceptional pieces come in 2 sets, one black and one white, with different enhancement directions for light and dark. In addition to their powerful effects, they are also highly concealable. As the king, the host can adjust the appearance and data of their pieces to match ordinary demon pieces. As long as an excessive number of pieces are not summoned at once, there is no risk of exposure. As the light faded, a chessboard appeared before Akira. The blood-red demon pieces disappeared. In their place were 2 neatly arranged sets of black and white pieces. Aguman. Without hesitation, Akira summoned Aguman, who had grown up with him. Here, take this. 1 black and 1 white, 2 exquisite queen pieces were taken out by Akira from the chessboard. Akira wasn't sure which piece Aguman would adapt to, so he decided to try both. Because one thing was certain. Aguman would definitely become his queen. Akira, what is this? Aguman held the 2 pieces, looking at Akira curiously. These are enhanced demon pieces that can improve your talent and potential. You can choose the one your body feels more drawn to. I see, I understand. Realizing that this was something that could make her stronger and help her evolve, Aguman began to carefully sense them. I think this piece suits me better. In the end, Aguman chose the white queen piece. Aguman's choice surprised Akira. For a beast like Aguman, who evolved by absorbing life data, it seemed more fitting to choose the black queen piece. However, since Aguman said she felt the white queen piece suited her better, Akira supported her choice. After returning the black piece to Akira, Aguman held the purified beast data in one hand and the white queen piece in the other, slowly closing her eyes. A white light illuminated the entire room. The queen piece gradually merged into Aguman's body. Soon, Aguman's entire body turned white. In the white light, Aguman's form began to change, rapidly growing from her original height. Aguman evolve, Grayman, ding. The host's contracted beast has successfully evolved. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the contracted beast Grayman. A giant dinosaur-like beast rose from the ground, instantly filling Akira's study. Boom. Due to Grayman's enormous size, the floors of the 2nd and 3rd stories were shattered. Before Akira stood a massive Grayman, about 15 meters tall. Great. All that feeding wasn't in vain. Akira couldn't help but praise. His Aguman had developed exceptionally well, far stronger than the average Aguman. Otherwise, he wouldn't have invested so many resources without hesitation. In the first season of Digimon, Taiki's Aguman was less than a meter tall. But Akira's Aguman, even before evolving, was already taller than Akira. Taiki's Grayman in the first season was only about 5 to 6 meters tall. But Akira's Grayman was a whopping 15 to 16 meters. If this evolution continues, it might even evolve into the legendary War Grayman. War Grayman, known as the God of War Grayman, is a title from the new Digimon series. The reason it's called the God of War is because of its godlike combat prowess. Not to mention, standing at 50 to 60 meters tall, it could easily play a monster in an Ultraman series. Sorry, Akira, I broke your house. Grayman lowered her head, her deep voice apologizing. She hadn't expected to grow so large after evolving, instantly destroying Akira's study. It was just a house. Akira certainly wouldn't blame Aguman for that. It's fine, we can just move to another villa. Your strength is far more important than any villa. Okay, I understand, Akira. I'll work hard to train. Grayman nodded, her body once again glowing with white light. A few seconds later, Grayman's form shrank, returning to Aguman's appearance. Akira, I think this form is better. I'm more familiar with this body, and in this form, I can always stay by your side. True, being smaller is definitely more convenient. Akira nodded, agreeing with Aguman's reasoning. His Aguman wasn't stunted in growth, after all. Since she could control her evolution and devolution, he'd let her decide. The commotion in the study was significant. Hearing the noise from the villa, a blonde, blue-eyed woman hurried to the study. Akira-sama, what happened? The blonde woman entered the study, surveying the wreckage. Was this a terrorist attack? Or was Akira conducting another experiment? The blonde woman was Akira's butler and maid, named Hayasaka Naao. That's right. She was Hayasaka Ai's mother, Hayasaka Naao, from the world of Kaguya-sama, Love is War. At first, Akira wasn't entirely sure of her identity, but after learning that her husband had passed away and she had a daughter named Hayasaka Ai, Akira finally confirmed that this blonde woman was indeed the Hayasaka Naao he knew. Hayasaka Naao was aware of Akira's status as a demon noble and had been serving him as his butler. Although her strength wasn't great, she was only a low-class reincarnated demon. She was incredibly versatile, excelling in household chores, cooking, etiquette, and even negotiation and business. The reason Akira wanted to conduct an experiment with a Monoyama was because of her. She Was the perverted blonde maid in Akira's household? Of course, Hayasaka Nao wasn't always perverted. Normally, she was quite reliable and composed. In the study, looking at the devastation before her, Hayasaka Nao sighed helplessly. Oh well. It wasn't the first time Akira-sama had blown up the room. She was used to it. Akira-sama, please move to the reception room for now. I'll handle the study and restore it as soon as possible. The reception room? Akira raised an eyebrow. Normally, she'd tell him to return to his room or go to the hall. Why the reception room today? That's right, the reception room. The next head of the Saitri family, Sona Saitri, will be visiting in an hour. She seems to have something very important to discuss with you and insists that you make time. So, Sona is finally coming to see me? Akira chuckled and headed to the reception room. Good. He'd see how his so-called fiancé planned to break off their engagement. At the study door, Hayasaka Nao watched Akira's retreating figure with concern. I hope Akira-sama doesn't do anything drastic. Nowadays, his status holds little value. The safest course of action would be to dissolve the engagement with the Saitri family and gradually retire. Chapter 7. Okay, but it will cost more in the reception room. While waiting for Sona, Akira was practicing using his sacred gear. He extended his left hand forward. The crimson gauntlet of the Red Dragon Emperor appeared. Boost, the green jewel emitted a radiant glow. As the green jewel flashed, Akira's strength doubled. Not enough. Akira continued to maintain the use of his sacred gear. 10 seconds later. Boost, the Red Dragon Emperor's jewel glowed again, and Akira's power doubled once more. Still not enough. Akira wanted to test his limits. Hyakutasai, who had just become a reincarnated demon, was able to defeat a mid-class fallen angel using his sacred gear and sheer determination. His dragon shot, enhanced by the Red Dragon Emperor, had power comparable to a high-class demon. If a low-class demon who had just reincarnated could do it, there's no reason I, who have already reached the peak of low-class demons, can't. Boost, 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 boost. After doubling his power more than 10 times in a row, Akira finally reached his limit. Phew. He let out a long breath and closed his eyes, trying to adapt to this state. Because, before developing his balance breaker, this would likely be the ability he used most frequently. A few minutes later, Akira deactivated his sacred gear. The crimson gauntlet disappeared instantly, and Akira collapsed weakly onto the sofa. Akira, here's some tea to restore your energy. Agumon brought a cup of tea to Akira. She was happy that Akira was getting stronger. This way, Akira could fight alongside her. Moreover, if he became stronger, he wouldn't feel so much pressure. Having accompanied Akira all this time, Agumon knew how much effort Akira had put into other areas despite lacking talent in cultivation. Now, Akira's efforts were finally paying off, and Agumon was genuinely happy for him. Thanks, Agumon. Akira drank the hot tea in one gulp. Steam rose from his body. A few seconds later, the tea took effect, and Akira's magic power, stamina, and mental energy began to recover at an astonishing rate. The reason this special tea had such effects was also thanks to his status as an heir to the Leviathan bloodline. Ordinary low-class demons wouldn't have access to such high-quality items. An hour later, Akira had mostly recovered about 60 to 70% of his energy. Whoosh, the light of a teleportation circle flashed. The Saitri family crest on the magic circle revealed the identity of the visitor. Sona Saitri, Akira's fiancée. From the magic circle, two beautiful girls wearing Kwa Academy uniforms gradually appeared. As a high-class demon, Sona usually brought her queen, Shinra Tsubaki, to formal occasions. Seeing his fiancée again, Akira's gaze was full of appreciation. He admitted that Sona was an undeniable beauty. Among the category of cold, literary beauties, Sona was undoubtedly one of the best. Her skin was fair and smooth, her demeanor noble and aloof. Behind her glasses, her rose-colored eyes were gentle yet sharp. Her slender waist and smooth, fair thighs were particularly eye-catching. Though not as voluptuous as Ryaz, she had a healthy, clean beauty that would undoubtedly feel great wrapped around one's waist. Not just Sona, but her queen, Shinra Tsubaki, also had a unique charm. Shinra Tsubaki, like Akano, exuded a strong Yamato Neijiko vibe. The difference was that while Akano was gentle like water, Tsubaki's gentleness was deeply hidden. Akira-kun, it's been a while. Sona adjusted her glasses and performed the greeting etiquette between high-class demons. She felt a bit strange. The way Akira looked at her was different from before. Previously, Akira's gaze had been that of someone looking at a rival or a superior. Now, Akira was looking at her as an equal, even appraising her. She didn't like this feeling. A few minutes later, at the expensive mahogany table, Akira and Sona sat facing each other, with Agumon and Tsubaki standing by their sides. After drinking the tea served by Hayasaka Nao and completing the formalities of a high-class demon meeting, Sona got straight to the point. Akira-kun, I assume Ryaz has already spoken to you about that matter? That matter? Akira raised an eyebrow. The matter of me breaking off our engagement, Suna said bluntly. After a few seconds of silence, Akira slowly spoke. So, the news about breaking off the engagement was deliberately leaked to Ryaz by you? That's right, it was deliberate, Suna nodded calmly. I know Ryaz's personality. If I break off the engagement, she will definitely use this as the most time-efficient method to oppose her engagement to Riser. So, I predicted that after learning the news in advance, there was an 80% chance she would seek cooperation with you. Now, it seems my prediction was completely correct. As expected of Sona, accurately predicting Ryaz's actions. Akira took a sip of tea and praised her. He had wondered why Sona had visited the very next day. It turned out Sona had been observing him and Ryaz all along. Sona is truly Sona, even using strategy to break off an engagement. Before delivering the bad news of breaking off the engagement, she first helped me achieve something good. This way, I wouldn't be too resistant to her breaking off the engagement. How calculating. I already knew about the engagement being broken off. But Sona, isn't his approach of yours a bit too cunning? Akira countered. Even if you hadn't leaked the news, Ryaz would have done the same after finding out about the broken engagement. In other words, the only cost to you was leaking the news in advance. Truly calculating. Are you trying to gain every advantage? Hearing this, Sona's gaze lowered slightly. So, Akira-kun, are you unwilling to dissolve the engagement? She had hoped that Akira would agree to dissolve it after receiving compensation. But now, it seemed she would have to put in more effort. It's not that I'm unwilling to dissolve it, but the price isn't enough. Sona, you know very well that I'm not like you. I'm poor and easily swayed by money. As long as you offer a price that satisfies me, I can agree to any condition. An engagement is just an engagement. Breaking it off is fine. Akira wasn't in a hurry from the start. Because no matter what Sona did, as long as he remained unmoved and didn't give her any leverage, he held absolute initiative. Sona sighed helplessly. It seemed she couldn't avoid being taken advantage of by Akira. Sona took a deep breath and got straight to the point. Fine, tell me, what do you want? I want 3 drops of Phoenix tears. 1 drop delays the engagement by a year. Give me 3 drops at once, and I'll agree to dissolve the engagement immediately. Impossible. The negotiation instantly fell apart due to Akira's exorbitant demand. Sona, you're actually getting angry? That's rare. Akira waved his hand, acting as if Sona was overreacting. Sona pursed her lips, hesitating to speak. Isn't it because Akira-kun proposed an unrealistic condition? 3 drops of Phoenix tears? What are you thinking? Sona's expression showed slight anger as she sat back down. So, Sona, you think 3 drops of Phoenix tears is too high a price? Of course. Sona remembered that her sister, Seraphol, had given Akira 1 drop of Phoenix tears as compensation after breaking off their engagement. Her sister only needed 1 drop to break off the engagement. Why did it become 3 drops for her? Has inflation hit in the past 3 years? Since we can't reach an agreement, let's follow the old demon tradition. Might makes right. The strong rule, and the weak obey. Best of 3. If you win, I'll agree to dissolve the engagement immediately. If I win, you marry me on the spot, wearing a wedding dress and offering your body and soul to me that very night. Akira threw out a hook. Fine, if that's what Akira-kun wants, let's compete. Sona ignored the latter part of Akira's statement. Because, in her eyes, Akira was just trying to save face. Lose? Whether it was a battle of wits, strategy, personal strength, or team strength, she didn't think there was any chance of her losing. With a best of 3, even if she lost 1 round, she could still guarantee her victory. After Sona agreed, Akira quickly heard the system's notification. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, purple, check-in type, stage event check-in event. Don't bully the poor young man, don't bully the poor young man, your fiancé has came to break off the engagement. Now that you have strength, there's no need to hold back. Defeat your fiancé in 3 matches. Each victory will grant you a stage reward. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, silver, check-in type, location check-in location, Sona's kiss, note, must be initiated by Sona. Hearing the system's notifications, Akira smiled slightly. Perfect? He wanted to test whether his trace of succubus bloodline would work on a high-class demon. Chapter 8, Chess Simulation, Awakening Bloodline. Half an hour later, the contract is sealed in the reception room. Sona and Akira sat facing each other. Between them lay a black and white set of chessboards. At this moment, the two were engaged in an intense game of chess. Behind Akira, Hayasaka Nao watched with concern. I really don't know what Akira-sama is thinking, challenging the Saitri family's young lady to a gamble. 3 matches, 1 game of chess, 1 game of rating game strategy simulation, and 1 real battle. No matter which match it was, Hayasaka Nao didn't think Akira had any chance of winning. Who didn't know that the next head of the Saitri family was most skilled at chess? Who didn't know that Akira wasn't a pure-blooded demon? Given that, what was the point of even competing? After thinking for a long time, Hayasaka Nao could only conclude that Akira was giving up. Akira-sama probably plans to lose the first 2 matches so that the third match, the real battle, won't happen. It's best to exit gracefully like this. If Akira-sama, who inherited the name of an old demon king, were to defeat the sister of the new demon king, it would cause a series of problems. Hayasaka Nao quietly observed the match. However, she soon noticed that the situation was different from what she had imagined. Akira was calm and composed, while Suna was frowning, even breaking out in a cold sweat. Akira-sama was actually in the lead? Hayasaka Nao knew that Akira had always played chess. But she never expected that Akira was stronger than Suna. She had thought Akira was just a casual chess enthusiast at best. Half an hour later, Suna lifted her heavy hand and placed it on her king. Tap. Suna tipped her king over on the chessboard, the piece making a soft sound as it fell. Akira-kun, I concede. This match is your victory. Thank you, thank you. Akira smiled and returned the gesture, then turned to high-five Aguman. Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the check-in task, check-in level, purple, check-in event. Don't bully the poor young man. First match, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, copy I, an eye that can instantly analyze and replicate any magical formula or spell just by seeing it. This is not the complete formula solver eye, but a regular copy eye. However, it has almost no restrictions and can replicate almost any spell. A warm current flowed through Akira's eyes. When he opened them again, the world before him had changed. Copy eye? Nice, now I can just steal. No, wait, borrowing is the right term, let's call it learning. Let me learn what kind of spells Suna has on her. Akira observed Suna's surroundings. Quite a few spells. Automatic cleaning spell, automatic defense spell, automatic mental barrier spell, and a portable spatial array. Although these spells weren't particularly powerful, they were very comprehensive. Soon, the second match began. Suna looked at Akira, her gaze no longer filled with the previous disdain. In the previous chess match, she had underestimated Akira and fallen into a disadvantage from the start. This time, she wouldn't make the same mistake. Akira-kun, I didn't expect you to be a strategist like me. I admit, I underestimated you before. Here, I apologize for my previous disrespect. For this second match, I will go all out. Good, I look forward to seeing Suna at her full strength. Akira smiled and took out the rating game strategy simulation pieces. Rating game strategy simulation. It was a method widely recognized by the demon community to evaluate a king's command ability. Its recognition in the demon industry was far higher than something like chess. The rules of the strategy simulation were different from chess, more similar to an actual rating game battle. If it were an ancient strategy simulation, factors like supply lines and siege equipment would be introduced. Modern strategy simulations were much simpler, with fewer conditions. 2 kings would command, drawing simulated servants of different strengths and races from the demon database to simulate a battle and determine the winner. I actually drew a Kano-senpai. What a coincidence. Akira placed his queen piece, and a projection of a Kano gradually appeared. My queen is a high-ranking water spirit from the water spirit clan. Suna also placed her queen. The thunder priestess counters water spirits. Suna, it seems your luck isn't great. Humphrey, let's continue. Who knows what will happen until the end. Strategy simulation wasn't something that could be decided by just the queen piece. Soon, both sides had drawn all their pieces, and the battle officially began. Suna's ominous premonition came true. If she couldn't beat Akira in chess, it would be even harder to win in a strategy simulation that also required intelligence and planning. Moreover, her queen was countered by Akira's queen. I use my queen, a Kano, to defeat your 2 rooks. The servants' pieces moved and clashed simultaneously. The result was Suna's 2 rooks were defeated and disappeared. The rating game strategy simulation system was directly connected to the Underworld's database, so the results of the battle were quickly determined. Of course. In Akira's opinion, this Akano was still weaker. The real Akano could not only use lightning but also holy lightning, which was effective against demons. In the high-class demon rating game rankings, when everyone's queen was a high-class demon, Akano, who could use holy lightning, had a significant advantage. The organizers had probably considered Akano's privacy and game balance, so they had weakened her piece. There were many such balance adjustments. For example, the Phoenix piece. In strategy simulations, as long as the combined value of the pieces attacking the phoenix exceeded 18, it could be defeated. But in the real world, 2 high-class demon queens definitely couldn't defeat a high-class phoenix. I used the high-ranking water spirits ambush waters to trap your queen in the gym area. Suna nervously activated her servant's skill. She had sacrificed 2 rooks to finally create an environment to surround and kill Akira's queen. Too bad, Suna. I have a servant with a weather trait that can turn any weather into clear skies. So, your ambush has failed. Akira smiled. In the gym area, a coal turtle with the clear skies trait appeared. After the weather changed, Suna's plan fell apart. A few minutes later, Akira moved his king and queen to attack together. Unlike chess, in strategy simulations, each piece could move every turn. The king had to decide the movement of all pieces before the turn began. Once the turn started, the rating game system would automatically determine the battle's outcome. I move my king and queen Akano to attack your king. Checkmate. Game over, you win. As soon as king piece dissipated, the strategy simulation automatically ended, and the words "you win" popped up on the board. Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the check-in task. Check-in level, purple. Check-in event, don't bully the poor young man. Second match, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, appraisal eye, an eye that can detect various attributes of a target. Essential for database development, appraisal eye? What is this? An Isekai protagonist starting skill. In Japanese Isekai novels, the appraisal skill was a basic yet popular ability. Just as Akira was considering whether to use appraisal on Suna suddenly stood up, her rose-colored eyes filled with unwillingness. No, I haven't lost yet. Huh? Akira raised an eyebrow. Was she planning to cheat? If it were Akira-kun himself leading a heavily injured Akano, there's no way you could defeat me. Suna gave her explanation. Suna, are you saying we should apply this to reality? But if we apply it to reality, it's impossible for us to have a battle with servants of similar strength. Suna didn't respond, just lowered her head. Of course, she knew that. Once she accepted the strategy simulation, she should have accepted the objective fact that their strengths were on equal footing. But respect was one thing. She simply couldn't accept losing to Akira like this. The reason she couldn't accept Akira was simple. Akira's bloodline wasn't pure, and his future was bleak. Even if he was smarter than her, so what? Someone who was only smart but lacked strength didn't deserve to chase their dreams. She herself was a prime example. Akira smiled helplessly. Actually, he understood Suna. It was hard for the noble princess of the underworld, the younger sister of the current demon king, and the next head of the Saitri family to accept a waste like him with no future. If he had told Suna earlier that he had obtained the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet, she would have gladly accepted him as her fiancé. Since he had already obtained the check-in rewards, Akira felt there was no need to argue over the outcome. Besides, he still had a task that required Suna's cooperation to complete. So, after thinking for a few seconds, Akira replied, Suna, I understand how you feel. If you lose here, you'll have to fulfill the contract. How about this? If you agree to one condition, I'll consider this match a draw, and we'll have a third match. How about it? Fine, what's the condition? Suna was like a drowning person grasping at the last straw. Simple, just kiss me on your own initiative. Suna, huh? Tsubaki. Hi Asaka Nao. Agumen, as expected of Akira. After a long silence, Suna's lips parted slightly, her expression stunned. Suna stared at Akira, her gaze gradually becoming entranced. A faint blush crept up her fair cheeks, and her rose-colored eyes softened, filled with affection. Suna's gaze feels familiar. Ryaz and Rainer have both looked at me like this before, could it be the succubus bloodline acting up again? As Akira pondered, Suna had already made up her mind. Fine. For some reason, Suna agreed to Akira's condition. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Suna reached out and wrapped her arms around Akira's neck. The sweet scent of the girl filled his senses. Suna's scent was different from Rainer's. But it was also very pleasant. Akira liked it. Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the check-in task. Check-in level, silver, check-in location, Suna's kiss. Note, Suna initiated, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, high-dimensional succubus bloodline awakening. Succubus bloodline awakening, restores destroyed foundations and officially awakens the high-dimensional succubus bloodline. As a high-dimensional succubus, you can charm not only living beings but even inanimate objects. All heterosexual life forms who are interested in any aspect of the host will eventually fall for the host. Chapter 9, Seeking the Truth, the Fallen Genius in Akira's Study. Under Shinra Tsubaki's shocked gaze, Suna took the initiative and embraced Akira. No, it wasn't just an embrace, she even proactively kissed him. The president is really going all out to break off the engagement, but to be so proactive, even a deep kiss, Shinra Tsubaki didn't know what expression to make. Although this was something Akira had requested, since Suna herself agreed and kissed him so passionately, what could she, as a queen, say? In the end, it was Agumon who stepped forward to stop them. Alright, Akira says that's enough, no need to continue. Agumon exerted strength and pulled the two apart. I was. Suna lightly covered her red lips, her face flushed, her pink eyes moist and captivating, a stark contrast to her usual cold demeanor. It must be the influence of my succubus bloodline. Besides having the Leviathan bloodline, I also have succubus blood. Akira looked somewhat fearfully at Suna before him. At first, it was indeed very comfortable, and he enjoyed it. But later, as the system reward was achieved, his succubus bloodline awakened, and the situation changed. Suna could no longer control herself, seemingly wanting to merge with his body, desperately taking from him. With his physical strength not even at the level of an intermediate demon, Akira nearly suffocated from Suna's actions. Agumon was not wrong. It was Akira who had actively sought Agumon's help to separate them. Otherwise, a few more minutes, and Akira felt he would have fainted on the spot. Succubus bloodline. So that's how it is. Suna's doubts were answered, but then she had a new question. Akira-kun, could it be that your bloodline has awakened? Otherwise, how could a low-level succubus bloodline affect me? Suna decided to test her theory through action. So she just kept staring at Akira. The young man's face was dreamy, and every movement of his made Suna feel incredibly drawn to him, as if he naturally exuded an aura that made people want to get closer. Thump. Thump thump thump. Strong and powerful. Suna felt her own heartbeat pounding intensely. It seems Akira-kun's succubus bloodline has truly awakened. Suna covered her chest with her hand, her gaze involuntarily drifting toward Akira's lips and lower body. Slap. Realizing her own thoughts, Suna raised both hands and slapped her own face hard. Sorry, Akira-kun, let's go prepare the battlefield. Excuse me. And so, Suna, with her cheeks burning red, left with Tsubaki. Akira-sama, have you truly awakened your bloodline? Hayasaka Nao asked with concern. Yes, it has awakened. However, it wasn't the Leviathan bloodline that awakened, but the succubus bloodline, Akira sighed. I do think Akira-sama's charm has increased compared to before. But even so, Suna-sama shouldn't have reacted so strongly, right? Hayasaka Nao had also witnessed Suna's relentless actions, and her evaluation was simple, pure lust. She got so excited probably because she came into contact with my bodily fluids, right? Akira knew what a succubus was. What he was curious about was, what is a high-dimensional succubus? And, what is a destroyed bloodline? Half an hour later, Suna's side was ready, and Akira and Agumon were teleported to the prepared battlefield. By now, Suna had mostly returned to normal. Although her gaze toward Akira was still a bit off, it was much better than before when she seemed ready to devour him. Akira-kun, are you sure you still want to fight? I think, since Akira-kun has already awakened his succubus bloodline, there's no need to continue fighting. Although the succubus bloodline doesn't enhance strength much, it was still better than having no awakened bloodline at all. With intelligence higher than hers and a not-so-low-level succubus bloodline, Akira had already reached the passing line for a fiancé in Suna's heart. So, Suna felt there was no need for a third round. No, Suna, the third round must still be fought. Our contract hasn't been completed, has it? Akira himself really wanted to fight the third round. It wasn't that he wanted to prove his strength in front of Suna, that was something kids did. He just wanted to gain some benefits through Suna. Alright, since Akira-kun insists, then let's go. Let me see just how strong the Agumon Akira-kun has carefully nurtured really is. According to the previously agreed rules, Suna would simultaneously battle Akira himself and his Agumon. Suna was full of fighting spirit, her powerful magic stirring up fierce winds across the ground. She wasn't truly full of battle intent. She was just using the stance of being battle-ready to openly cast appreciative and possessive gazes at Akira. Feeling Suna's hungry gaze, Akira silently used appraisal eye. The next second, a virtual panel appeared before him. Name, Suna Saitri, Level 145, High-Class Devil Peak, Attribute Evaluation, C, Average, D, Below Average, E, Worst, B, Above Average, A, Excellent, Can barely compete against higher stages, S, Exceptional, Can fight a stage above, SS, Even Stronger, SSS, Can battle 2 stages above, Strength, C+, Speed, B, Magic, B, Body Strength, B, Combat or Magic Proficiency, B, Saitri family's ancestral techniques, yet to develop her own style, sacred gear or bloodline ability, B, Pure-blooded devil Saitri lineage, excels in water-based magic, governs desire, no mutations, overall rating, B-level high-class devil. Summary: a young genius with pure-blood devil heritage, though most of her power comes from her lineage rather than personal cultivation. She excels in intelligence rather than physical strength. Her body contains residual high-dimensional purified energy, and the bottleneck for her breakthrough has already begun to loosen. A B-level high-class devil, an elite among her class, fitting for Suna's status. The reason she has high-dimensional purified energy is probably due to the fluid exchange earlier. After reviewing Suna's data, Akira also used appraisal eye on Nagumin. Akira-sama, have you truly awakened your bloodline? Yes, it has awakened. However, it wasn't the Leviathan bloodline that awakened, but the succubus bloodline. Akira sighed. I do think Akira-sama's charm has increased compared to before. But even so, Suna-sama shouldn't have reacted so strongly, right? Hayasaka Nao had also witnessed Suna's relentless actions, and her evaluation was simple, pure lust. She got so excited probably because she came into contact with my bodily fluids, right? Akira knew what a succubus was. What he was curious about was, what is a high-dimensional succubus? And, what is a destroyed bloodline? After reviewing Suna's data, Akira also used appraisal eye on Nagumin. Name, Agumin. Level 135, high-class devil. Attribute evaluation, note, strength within the same level, strength, A+, speed, A, magic, B+, body strength, A+, martial arts or technique mastery, S, sacred gear or bloodline ability, S, overall evaluation, S high-class devil, overall review, omitted, feeling the tremors in the earth, so adjusted her glasses. So that's why Akira-kun was looking for magical beast corpses? That's why Akira-kun wanted to challenge me? Suna smiled, feeling genuinely happy. She admitted that she had underestimated Akira. With Agumin as his contracted beast, Akira definitely had the qualifications to be her fiancé. Understanding this, Suna no longer cared about winning or losing. In fact, she even hoped that Akira's Agumin could defeat her. The stronger her fiancé, the more prestige she would have as his fiancé. Why did she come to break off the engagement? Because she thought Akira's bloodline was weak, with no future. Now, Suna finally understood why Akira had bought so many magical beast corpses. It was to make Agumin stronger. Akira had already shown the results of his hard work, and now she had to give it her all as well. Ha! The Saitri family's exclusive technique unfolded, transforming her magic into powerful water-based energy. A massive water sphere quickly formed in the air, then shot toward Agumin. Seeing this, Grayman didn't make any obvious defensive moves. She simply lowered her head, aiming the black horn on her head at Suna's water sphere. Plop! The black horn perfectly pierced the water sphere, and the armor beneath the horn absorbed the damage, preventing the attack from harming Grayman's body. Opening her massive jaws, terrifying flames gathered within her mouth. Mega Flame, Grayman didn't choose to confront Suna's attack head-on but instead broke through directly before launching a counterattack. Chapter 10, High-Dimensional Leviathan Bloodline Boom. A massive fireball soared towards Suna. The fireball, with a diameter of 20 meters, was overwhelmingly large. Neither Suna nor Akira himself had anticipated this. Who could have imagined someone spitting out a fireball larger than their own body? Akira knew very well that the fireball from Grayman was no mere bluff. This was the result of Grayman condensing its energy over and over again. If it wanted to shrink the fireball further, it would take even more time. Facing Grayman's mega flame, Suna adjusted her glasses. Akira-kun. During the previous wargame simulation, you used the lightning-based Jury Shinra to counter my high-level water spirits. Now, the tables have turned. It's me, a water-based fighter, against your fire-based monster. Ha-ha. Suna raised her hands high. Her previous attack had only been a probing strike, not her full power. So, gathering a second wave of attacks was a breeze for her. Sorry. Your plan to strike later has failed. Sizzle sizzle sizzle. The water sphere collided with a fireball, creating a dense cloud of steam. Amid the sudden burst of steam, the massive fireball continued to surge forward. Grayman's mega flame not only shattered Suna's water sphere but also completely evaporated the steam left behind. Huh? Suna didn't have time to dodge. Boom. The mega flame struck Suna head-on. For a full half-minute, the terrifying fire energy burned relentlessly, showing no signs of dissipating. Damn, Grayman's mega flame is this overpowered? It seems. After evolving, it gained some holy energy too? Akira was also surprised by Grayman's power. After all, in terms of level, Suna was undoubtedly above Grayman. President Tsubaki Shinra's worried expression was evident. Tsubaki, the battle is over. Please take Suna to heal. If you don't pull her out soon, her injuries will worsen. With that, Akira had Greymon disperse its energy. Alright. Tsubaki Shinra initially wanted to say, how do you know the president lost? But seeing that Suna hadn't moved at all, she couldn't care less. Saving her was the priority. Watching Tsubaki Shinra rush into the magma, Akira shook his head helplessly. Of course, he had only spoken up after confirming Suna's defeat. A few seconds ago, he had heard the system's notification. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the check-in mission, check-in level, purple, check-in event, don't bully the young and poor, round 3, congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline Awakening, Leviathan Bloodline Awakening, restores destroyed foundations, allowing the high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline to fully awaken. Although the high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline was formed by absorbing the Leviathan Bloodline of this world, it holds a completely different significance. The Leviathan possesses control over water energy and ocean affinity, while the high-dimensional Leviathan also possesses the abilities of the Leviathan from the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, Leviathan is a dragon of chaos. The high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline, in addition to controlling water and the ocean, also has the talent to manipulate chaos and dimensional energy. Ding. Due to the Bloodline Awakening, the host's level has been raised to level 99, mid-class Demon Peak. Ding. The host's high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline and high-dimensional Succubus Bloodline have both awakened, granting the innate ability, Dimensional Shift. Dimensional Shift allows a user to traverse time and space without using spells. There are no energy fluctuations during use, and it cannot be blocked by any means. Awakened. And not some weak Succubus Bloodline, but a genuinely powerful bloodline this time. Akira felt a wave of clarity wash over his entire body as chaotic and dimensional energy filled him. Not just his bloodline, but his muscles, bones, and soul were all undergoing sublimation. After a while, Akira's body finally calmed down. As soon as he recovered, Akira couldn't wait to cast an appraisal spell on himself. Name, Akira Leviathan, level 99, mid-class Demon Peak, attribute evaluation, note, strength within the same level, strength, A, speed, A, magic, S, physical defense, A, spell proficiency, A+. The awakened bloodline talent synergizes with innate spell talent, resulting in a 1+1 greater than 2 effect, bloodline ability, SSS, previous details omitted. 3. High-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline. The awakened high-dimensional Leviathan Bloodline possesses absolute affinity with water elements and the ocean, allowing free movement in the dimensional sea and the ability to consume chaos. Comprehensive evaluation, SS class mid-class demon, overall review, an awakened high-dimensional genius. Originally possessing high-dimensional succubus abilities, after arriving in this world and undergoing the baptism of the Leviathan bloodline, absorbing its essence, the host has gained the high-dimensional Leviathan bloodline. Good. Very good. The data's improvement made Akira couldn't help but say good several times. If it were just an ordinary mid-class demon, Akira wouldn't have been so excited. But this was a mid-class demon with a longinus. A mid-class demon plus longinus could sweep through high-class demons and even defeat ultimate-class demons. When Sai Hayautu defeated Kiroka, Tojo Konko's sister, his own strength was only at the mid-class demon level. Akira. You jerk who only knows how to bully Suna-chan. Suddenly, a pink figure descended from the sky, shouting angrily. Akira looked up and saw a familiar face. Black twin tails, a pink magical girl outfit, cute pink striped stockings, and the same rose-colored, captivating eyes as Suna. Seraphal Leviathan. The newcomer was none other than one of the current 4 great Satans, Seraphal Leviathan. Chapter 11, The Suffocating Feeling Given by the Demon King Girl. Thud. With a heavy impact, Seraphal landed in front of Akira. The Demon King Girl had tears in her eyes, as if she had suffered some great injustice, and she immediately swung her fist. Akira, be careful. Greymon pushed Akira aside at the first moment and took the hit. But an attack from one of the 4 great Satans, even if it was just a simple punch, was not something Greymon could withstand. Before Seraphal's fist even landed, the sheer force of the wind pressure shattered the armor on Greymon's head. Greymon, devolve. At the critical moment, Akira forcibly took control of Greymon, forcing it to devolve instantly. The massive body shrank rapidly. Seraphal's punch missed, but the intense wind pressure it created sent both Akira and his Agumon flying. Cough. Cough. Akira stood up, coughing up blood, dozens of meters away. Seeing that Seraphal, who had been watching the battle, had finally decided to intervene, Akira couldn't help but smile faintly. It was worth risking becoming Seraphal's servant to set up this situation. The reason he said he was risking becoming Seraphal's servant was that if Seraphal accidentally killed him, she would have no choice but to revive him on the spot using one of her many evil pieces. Now, things had turned out even better. Not only had he avoided becoming Seraphal's servant, but he had also caught her in a compromising position. The big fish had taken the bait, and now Agumon could gather the resources needed to complete its evolution. Leaking information to the right people. This was a clever move. Sona had used this tactic earlier. She had leaked the information about her intention to break off the engagement with Akira to Ryaz, prompting Ryaz to initiate a deal with Akira and reduce his resistance to the annulment. Sona had used this tactic. And Akira, whose intelligence was no less than Sona's, naturally used it as well. After the second round ended, when Sona, overwhelmed by shyness after kissing Akira, temporarily left, Akira hadn't been idle. He had informed Ryaz about Sona's upcoming duel with him. Then, he had Ryaz leak this information to Serafal. Things unfolded just as Akira had predicted. Upon receiving the news, Serafal rushed to the scene immediately. Of course she would. How could she not care about a duel between her former fiancé and her younger sister? However, upon arriving, Serafal's overwhelming strength meant no one noticed her presence. In truth, Serafal had been suppressing her emotions. Even when her sister Sona was defeated by Greymon, she hadn't intervened, silently observing instead. But Akira smiled. Not only did he smile, but he also cheered. Good, good, good. Defeating Sona-chan was one thing, injuring her was another, but to clap and cheer about it? Too much. This was simply too much. Even if her uncle could tolerate it, her aunt couldn't. So, unable to hold back any longer, Serafal chose to teach Akira a lesson. Serafal was furious, absolutely furious. It wasn't until she shattered Greymon's head armor that she realized she needed to pull back her strength. Unfortunately, her physical power was too immense. Even after holding back, the wind pressure from her punch sent Akira and Agumon flying. Seeing Akira coughing up blood, Serafal panicked instantly. Akira-chan. I'm sorry. You just couldn't bear to see Sona being bullied and laughed at, right? Akira asked while coughing up blood. That's right. That's exactly it. I'm so glad you understand, Akira-chan. Seeing that Akira was okay, Serafal, with tears in her eyes, hugged him tightly. Akira was someone she had watched grow up, and he had once been her fiancé. He had never done anything to wrong her. In fact, she had always felt guilty about breaking off the engagement. So, in her emotionally unstable state, Serafal subconsciously expressed an unusual level of closeness to Akira. Serafal hugged Akira tightly, burying his face in her chest, giving him the ultimate face wash treatment. Damn it, even with his face buried in the chest of a beautiful girl, Akira felt no sense of happiness. All he felt was suffocation. Cough. Lady Serafal, you've crossed a line. Can't you see that Akira-sama is in pain? Hayasaki now coughed lightly, reminding Serafal. Huh? Oh, right. Serafal chuckled awkwardly and quickly released Akira, whose face had turned pale. Hayasaki, the recording. After catching his breath from the suffocating face wash, Akira looked at Hayasaki now. Yes, Akira-sama. Hayasaki now nodded and took out a gem. The gem glowed, faithfully recording the scene of Serafal's punch sending Akira flying and causing him to cough up blood. Hayasaki. You. Serafal first glared at Hayasaki now, then turned to Akira with a pleading look. This time it's my fault. Akira-chan, what do I need to do for you to forgive me? The Demon King girl blinked her eyes, putting on a cute act. She knew Akira's personality well and understood that as long as she offered suitable compensation, he wouldn't stay angry. 3 drops of phoenix tears. Akira-chan, isn't that price a bit too high? Serafal's smile instantly stiffened. Serafal, the current Demon King bullying her former fiancé and beating him until he coughs up blood. How does that sound for a headline? Alright. Akira-chan. Stop talking. I agree. Serafal felt a headache coming on and quickly gestured for Akira to stop. I only have 1 drop on me right now. I'll deliver the other 2 tomorrow. Serafal was straightforward and immediately tossed Akira a drop of phoenix tears. As one of the current Demon Kings, she was far wealthier than Sona. Seeing that Serafal not only handed over a drop of phoenix tears but also a contract, Akira nodded in satisfaction. As expected of the Demon King in charge of diplomacy in the underworld, she was decisive. Good, this matter is settled. Really? I'm glad you're satisfied, Akira-chan. Serafal forced a smile. Her heart was bleeding. Serafal, no need to rush. This isn't over yet. This matter is settled, but we can discuss the next one. Huh? Serafal's already forced smile stiffened again. What did he mean by the next matter? Serafal, you don't want to marry your sister Sona to me, right? That's about right. But, Akira-chan, I don't mean to look down on you or anything, it's just that my engagement with you was a political move for stability. Later, Sona-chan just became my replacement, and she herself didn't agree to it. Now that Sona-chan is an adult, she should have the right to choose her own path in life. Sarafal's words were tactful, but her meaning was clear. So, you're saying that since I've lost my value, I can just be tossed aside? Akira retorted. It's not quite like that after all, Akira-chan, you did receive compensation, right? The resources from the old Demon King bloodline are things you wouldn't have been able to obtain otherwise. Sarafal switched to her usual negotiation mode. True, you have a point, Sarafal. So, what price are you willing to pay for this thing in my hand? Akira took out a contract. A contract he had signed with Sona. A contract? Sarafal took the contract from Akira, puzzled. If I, Sona Saitri, lose in a best-of-3 match against Akira Leviathan, I will offer my body and soul to Akira Leviathan at his discretion. After reading this clause, Sarafal's lips couldn't help but twitch. Damn it. Damn. So, if Akira wanted, he could take Sona-chan to bed tonight? Chapter 12, High-Dimensional Leviathan Bloodline. No. I absolutely cannot agree to this. How could Sarafal just stand by and watch Akira take Sona to bed? I knew you wouldn't agree. Luckily, I'm a reasonable person. If you give me 3 more drops of Phoenix Tears, I can dissolve the contract on the spot. Akira proposed his terms once again. 6 drops in total? How could I possibly have that many Phoenix Tears? Why don't you just sell me off instead? Tears welled up in Sarafal's eyes as she put on the act of a helpless, bullied girl. Unfortunately, in Akira's eyes, this was just a crude negotiation tactic. He wouldn't lower his price just because Sarafal was acting pitiful. No 3 drops, huh? Well then. Convert it into resources. Give me the equivalent in dragon-type monster corpses or essence. This. Sarafal looked troubled. Sarafal, don't you think Sona is so young, her lips so soft, her thighs so perfectly shaped? I bet she'd feel amazing to use. Tonight will definitely be an unforgettable night. Akira mused with a dreamy expression. Enough. Stop talking. I'll agree to your terms. Unable to withstand the mental assault, Sarafal surrendered. A few minutes later, a new contract was signed. Thank you for your patronage, Lady Leviathan. Once you deliver the goods, I'll honor the contract and destroy the one with Sona. Just remember, it has to be quick. I want to see the goods within 3 days. Akira reminded her. I understand. Sarafal crossed her fingers and poked them together angrily, muttering complaints about Akira. Akira-chan, you're such a bad guy. Always bullying me. A man like you deserves to be dumped by Sona-chan. Even though Sona hadn't successfully broken off the engagement, Sarafal didn't hesitate to use it as ammunition against Akira. Sorry, Sarafal, but your wish won't come true. Even if I were dumped, there's someone willing to take me in. Huh? Who? Sarafal's expression froze. Ryaz. After hearing about the annulment, she immediately offered to form a marriage contract with me. Akira replied with a smile. Ryaz is willing to take you in? Since when did you become so popular? Sarafal felt a pang of bitterness in her heart. Isn't it normal for someone as handsome as me to be popular? By the way, if you had tried to forcibly take the contract or suppress me with force, Ryaz would have reported the incident. Akira opened his pocket, and a red bat flew out. This was a familiar contracted by Ryaz. Facing Sarafal, Akira hadn't prepared just one plan. What if Sarafal had simply snatched the recording gem from Hyasaki Naao? Wouldn't that have halved his reward? TCH. So, the reason you fought Sona was just a scheme against me. Understanding the whole story, Sarafal clicked her tongue in annoyance. Exactly. Akira admitted openly. Who told me I'm short on money, and you're loaded? I'm broke, you're rich. It's a perfect match. Looking at it this way, we're practically made for each other. Humphrey. I'm going back to prepare the goods. Before I return, you're not allowed to bully Sona-chan anymore. Glaring at Akira one last time, Sarafal opened a portal and prepared to leave. Watching Sarafal's retreating figure, Akira silently cast an appraisal spell. Name, Sarafal Leviathan, level. Host's level is 100 levels lower, cannot view. Attribute evaluation, host's level is 100 levels lower, cannot view. Comprehensive evaluation, A-class chief god, overall review. Her bloodline has been purified to its limit, resulting in a sublimation that surpasses the limits of her demon bloodline. She has become a transcendent of the demon race, capable of battling the top 10 most powerful gods in the world. Akira rubbed his eyes, making sure he wasn't seeing things. Was this Sarafal's data? Was he sure he wasn't looking at Surst's stats? Since when did Sarafal have chief god level strength and surpass the racial limits of the demon race? In the original story, Sarafal definitely didn't have this kind of power. What on earth had happened? This world really isn't what I thought it was. It's getting more and more interesting. After Sarafal left, Tsubaki Shinra finished treating Sona's injuries. Akira-sama, I'll take precedence in a back to heal now. Tsubaki Shinra looked at Akira with a mix of respect and fear. Even if Sona had underestimated her opponent, losing was still losing, and she had been defeated in a single blow. Akira's contracted monster was incredibly powerful, already showing signs of being invincible. It seemed that Akira would undoubtedly have a place in the underworld in the future. Go ahead. When Sona wakes up, make sure she comes to see me. After reminding her, Akira sent Tsubaki Shinra on her way. With everything settled, Akira walked over to Hayasaki Nao with a smile. Miss Nao, today is a good day. Let's go back and celebrate. Today, he had obtained a mutation piece, awakened the high-dimensional succubus and leviathan bloodlines, and gained the appraisal eye and copy eye. With this setup, he was confident he could dominate the early and mid-game plot lines. Not to mention, he would continue to grow stronger at an incredible rate. While the feeling of reaping rewards after hard work was satisfying, there was no denying that the feeling of cheating was even better. Just as Akira was reveling in his joy, he heard the system's notification. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering a villain check-in level, blue, check-in type, event check-in event, eliminating hidden threats, turn Hayasaki Nao, who has always been by your side, into your servant, removing all potential threats, such a check-in mission. But it makes sense. Now that I've obtained the evil pieces, it's time to start building my own faction. Akira's eyes flickered for a moment before returning to calm. Congratulations, Akira-sama. Agumon has evolved successfully, and all your hard work has paid off. Hayasaki Nao stepped forward, offering her sincere congratulations. It's all thanks to Miss Nao's support. Akira thanked her. Without Hayasaki Nao's help and support, he definitely wouldn't have made it this far. My support and help? Hayasaki Nao was momentarily stunned before smiling softly. Not at all, Akira-sama, you're too kind. I only did what I was supposed to do. What you were supposed to do? Akira shook his head with a smile. No, it's not like that, Miss Nao. If you had told Seraphal or the higher-ups in the underworld about my dealings with the fallen angels, I probably would have been charged with treason. So, I have to thank you, Miss Nao. In order to quickly gather the resources needed for Agumon's evolution and to hide his purification abilities from the demons, Akira had not only traded with the demon faction but also with the fallen angels. He had even taken control of some low-level fallen angels. If Hayasaki Nao had reported this, the underworld could have easily charged him with treason. So, Akira was truly grateful to Hayasaki Nao. Although she was tasked with monitoring him, she had concealed some information and never acted in a way that harmed his interests. Chapter 13, Observing the Countermeasure Barrier. After listening to Akira's words, Hayasaki Nao remained silent for a long time. Akira-sama, when did you notice? Hayasaki Nao's red lips parted as she spoke. Quite early on, Akira replied honestly. After realizing that Hayasaki Nao was the same Hayasaki Nao he knew, Akira began to suspect whether she was involved in the same kind of work as her daughter. Her daughter, Hayasaki, was a spy planted beside Shinomiya Kaguya. So, could Hayasaki Nao be a spy planted beside him? It was precisely because of this suspicion towards Hayasaki Nao and the proactive investigation he conducted that Akira was able to discover her obsessive side. Fortunately, Hayasaki Nao hadn't done anything out of line. Otherwise, Akira would have likely been taken away by the old Nao or the fallen angels by now. Now that you know my identity, Akira-sama, what do you plan to do? Hayasaki Nao pursed her lips and asked. Akira looked directly at Hayasaki Nao. I don't plan to hold you accountable. After all, this is your job. Not only have you taken good care of me, but you've also concealed the fact that I've been purifying various items and trading with other factions. Regardless, I should thank you. So, Nao-san, I'll give you two choices now. Choice 1, accept my evil piece, stay by my side, pledge your loyalty to me, and become completely mine. Choice 2, have all memories related to me erased and leave my side. After hearing Akira's proposal, Hayasaki Nao smiled wryly. Akira-sama is truly merciful. I originally thought you wouldn't allow someone like me to stay by your side. Why wouldn't I? Absorbing my evil piece signifies absolute loyalty to me. I will fully trust anyone who absorbs my piece. So, Nao-san, what is your choice? Akira looked at Hayasaki Nao, awaiting her decision. Hayasaki Nao let out a deep breath, as if exhaling all her hesitation. I choose to absorb your evil piece and continue staying by your side. Hayasaki Nao made the choice Akira had anticipated. The blue-level mission wasn't particularly difficult, which was why Akira dared to confront her directly. A black pawn evil piece materialized in Akira's hand and flew into Hayasaki Nao's grasp. Without any complications, Hayasaka Nao quickly completed the absorption of the piece. Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the mission. Mission level, blue. Mission event, elimination of a hidden threat. Congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, observation resistance barrier. Observation resistance barrier, as the name suggests, a protective layer that resists any form of observation or inspection. As long as the host desires, the host can pass through any mechanical or powerful being's detection without being noticed. Moreover, the host can even falsify data to appear as another race. This is a good thing. With this, I don't have to worry about the current Mao conducting any inspections on me. This ability is a must-have for spies. If I wanted to, I could even falsify data to appear as a fallen angel. Akira felt much more at ease and casually cast an appraisal eye on Hayasaka Nao. Name, Hayasaka Nao. Level 125, Materia High Class Devil. Attribute Evaluation. Note, Strength within the same level. Strength, B. Speed, B. Magic Power, B. Physical Durability, B. Spell Proficiency, D+. An average reincarnated devil, even on the lower end among reincarnated devils. Without special opportunities, she would never become a high-class devil. Bloodline ability, B+. Sacred Gear, Observer, capable of targeted reconnaissance and information gathering. After absorbing the mutated evil piece, it will soon reach Balance Breaker. Comprehensive Evaluation, B-tier high-class devil. Overall review, originally an ordinary reincarnated devil with a sacred gear for information gathering. After absorbing the host's purified energy, she evolved, advancing to a high-class devil. After absorbing the mutated evil piece, the Sacred Gear Observer officially activated its Balance Breaker, granting exceptional abilities in information gathering. After reading Hayasaka Nao's appraisal panel, Akira's expression turned subtle. Wow! A high-class devil? It seems Hayasaka Nao has gained quite a lot of benefits from him. Now he understood why Hayasaka Nao had been acting like an obsessed woman in private. She had likely been influenced by his succubus bloodline while enjoying the benefits he provided, making it impossible for her to leave him. Nao-san, come to my room tonight. I have some questions for you, huh? Understood. Hayasaka Nao was initially startled but then lowered her head, her face red as she agreed to Akira's request. That night, Hayasaka Nao, dressed in a white stockinged-maid outfit, knocked on Akira's door. As soon as the door opened, she knelt before Akira, offering devoted service to her master. TSK Akira hadn't expected Hayasaka Nao to be so direct. The high-dimensional succubus bloodline was truly terrifying. Since that's the case, Nao-san, continue while I ask my questions. Hayasaka Nao responded in a muffled voice. In her current state, this was the best she could manage. Confirming that Hayasaka Nao was still lucid, Akira began his questioning. Since you're a spy, Nao-san, who exactly sent you to my side? After sending you to me, what specific tasks were you assigned? How do you report information to your superiors? How much do your superiors know about me? If we work together to conceal it, can we continue to keep it hidden? After drinking Akira's purified energy-filled gift, Hayasaka Nao slowly raised her head and parted her red lips. Akira was sure he wasn't mistaken. He saw pink hearts in Hayasaka Nao's blue eyes. Akira-sama, I will answer your questions now. Chapter 14, Sarah Fall's Secret. A few minutes later, as Hayasaka Nao swayed her hips atop Akira, she continued her report. My task was to take care of your daily life, Akira-sama, while also reporting relevant information. The person I report to and receive tasks from is Greyfire Lucifuge, the wife of the Ma'au Lucifer. As for the highest authority, it should be Ma'au Surge Lucifer and Ma'au Seraphal Leviathan. Over time, the surveillance on you has gradually decreased. At first, I had to report your situation every 3 days, then once a week, and now it's only once a month. The Ma'au's understanding of you, Akira-sama, still remains in the past. They only know you as a demon with an impure bloodline. They are unaware of your ability to purify and enhance various items to trade with other factions. If we work together to conceal it, I am confident we can continue to hide it. After all, Greyfire doesn't seem to care much about your affairs and has never actively inquired about them. I see. Akira nodded. Alright, in that case, from now on, we'll proactively leak some trivial information. After all, my Greyman has already been exposed, so it's impossible to keep things as uneventful as before. While stroking Hayasaka Nao's white stocking thighs, Akira chatted with her late into the night. By the way, Nao-san, do you know anything about my bloodline being destroyed? Akira asked about the matter that concerned him the most. No, I don't know anything about your bloodline, Akira-sama. Why do you ask? If I told you that my bloodline power is actually very strong, and the reason it didn't show before was because it was destroyed, Would you believe me? I believe everything Akira-sama says. However, I truly don't know about this matter. I only came to your side after you turned 3. Then, Nao-san, do you know whom I know? Whom I know? Hayasaka Nao, under Akira's impact, struggled to think. I guess the former Mao Leviathan clan might know. Sarafal-sama might also know. I heard that when you were young, you were taken by the former Mao Leviathan clan, and it was Sarafal-sama who rescued you from them. The former Mao Leviathan? It seems. I'll have to visit Kater-e once I become stronger. Kater-e was the tall, dark-skinned noble lady from the original story who wanted to perish together with Azazel. As for Sarafal, Akira didn't want to bring this up in front of her, because any related information could alert her. He would rather expose the boosted gear than reveal that his bloodline had been restored. The next day, during breakfast, Akira looked at the radiant Hayasaka Nao and smirked. Indeed, a well-nourished woman is different. Akira-sama, this morning, I received an order from Greyfialuzafuge, the queen of the underworld, Hayasaka Nao reported respectfully at the dining table. Oh? She actually reached out to you? It must be because of Greymon defeating Sa, right? What did she say? She said that today, there will be a comprehensive inspection of you, Akira-sama, including a physical examination and a combat assessment. Please be prepared. Is that so? When exactly? At noon, in the old school building. Alright, I understand. I'll be there on time. Yes, Akira-sama. With your abilities, as long as you pass this inspection, you probably won't attract the Mao's attention for a long time. Last night, during their intimate contact, Hayasaka Nao had also been informed of some of Akira's secrets. So, she knew Akira had the ability to pass the inspection. By the way, there's one more thing. What is it? It's about Sarafal-sama. About her? What about her? Don't tell me she's also going to perform a physical examination on me. No, Akira-sama. What I want to say is, Sarafal-sama actually likes you very much. Hayasaka Nao revealed the secret she had been hiding in her heart. Huh? Akira frowned. You're saying Sarafal likes me? Doesn't she only like San? That's right. Sarafal-sama likes you very much, Akira-sama. So much so that she would sneak into your room at night to sleep with you. Before you turned 15, she would sleep with you almost every night. I see. Akira narrowed his eyes. Now, he finally understood why Sarafal was stronger than in the original story. Nao-san, you know what my ability is, right? Akira asked in return. Yes, the ability to purify and evolve. You used your ability to help Agumon purify data and evolve. Besides that, you also purify various items and trade with other factions. Exactly, my ability is purification and evolution. So, Sarafal sleeping with me was just her using my ability, Akira concluded. No, that's not it, Akira-sama. Sarafal-sama truly likes you. She would even sneak kisses while you were sleeping. Hayasaka Nao directly revealed Sarafal's biggest secret. Unfortunately, Akira didn't agree with her explanation. Nao-san, have you noticed any changes in your body since last night? Yes, because of Akira-sama's efforts last night, my life essence has undergone some evolution. Hayasaka Nao gently touched her abdomen, feeling an unprecedented sense of fullness and satisfaction. Exactly, so Sarafal's intentions are obvious. She was just using me to become stronger. Moreover, after using me, she didn't even give me the rewards I deserved. This was what angered Akira the most. He never resisted being used by others. What he resisted was being taken advantage of without compensation. Hayasaka Nao fell silent, unsure how to explain. Regardless, the fact that Akira had been taken advantage of was undeniable. I'm done eating, Nao-san. I have some things to take care of today, so I'll be leaving now. Akira put down his chopsticks and prepared to leave. Hayasaka Nao quickly followed, helping Akira straighten his shirt and tie. Akira-sama, have a safe trip. I don't expect you to forgive Sarafal-sama, but I hope you two won't become enemies. That's all. I know. I've said it before, I just find it annoying to be taken advantage of. So, as long as she offers herself as a gift to me, I'll definitely forgive her, Akira said with a nonchalant smile. Akira-sama, you should know that you're different from ordinary people. You represent the former Mao. If you take the initiative in your relationship with Sarafal-sama, it could be interpreted as a revival of the former Mao. Even if your strength surpasses Sarafal-sama, it probably won't work. Because what you'd be up against is the four great Maos, and even the current system of the underworld, Hayasaka Nao reminded him. Akira chuckled lightly. Nao-san. Do you think I wouldn't understand something that even you can figure out? Hayasaka Nao was stunned, her red lips slightly parted. It seemed she had underestimated her master's ambitions. My apologies, Akira-sama. May your fortunes be prosperous. No matter what the future holds, I will always be by your side. Before parting, Hayasaka Naao wrapped her arms around Akira's neck and took the initiative to offer her lips. Chapter 15, Azazel's Gift. A few minutes later. After cleaning off the lingering scent of the mature woman from his body, Akira officially left the house. When he said he was going out, it wasn't an excuse. He really had something to do. A few minutes earlier, at the dining table, Akira had heard the system's notification. Ding! Congratulations, host, for triggering a check-in event. Check-in level, purple, check-in type, event check-in event, capture of the saint, requirement, turn Asia Argento, who has been under your surveillance, into your servant. After leaving the house, Akira took out his phone and dialed a number. Previously, due to limited magical power and to avoid the underworld surveillance as much as possible, Akira had been using technological means to communicate with the fallen angels in Kuat Town. Akira-sama, do you have something to discuss? On the other end of the phone, a tsundere-like girl's voice came through. The fallen angel answering the call was Mitelt. Mitelt's appearance matched her voice perfectly, tsundere yet cute. She was a blonde, white-stocking Lolita who loved wearing Lolita outfits and cosplay. Mitelt, the Saint Asia Argento is about to become my servant. Remember to report this to Rainer and say that Asia has left Kuat Town. Huh? Servant? Does that mean Akira-sama, you've obtained the evil pieces? That's right, I've obtained the pieces. Congratulations. I look forward to Akira-sama growing stronger and leading us to greater heights. Mitelt was extremely excited. Thank you for your hard work during this time. By the way, have this month's sacred gears arrived? My abilities have improved recently, so I can now enhance more advanced sacred gears. Akira proactively revealed that his purification ability had strengthened. Really? Mitelt's surprise was evident in her voice. Now, she could really get a promotion and a raise. Of course, it's true. Remember to take good care of that old client. Maintaining contact with customers is very important, understand? Yes. Understood, Akira-sama. I'll definitely complete the task. Mitelt stood at attention and loudly assured him. By the way, Akira-sama, how much has your ability improved? Mitelt was very concerned about this. About 100 times stronger than before? Great. I understand. Akira-sama. I'll do my best to find more clients for you. Having received a satisfactory answer, Mitelt expressed her loyalty with great enthusiasm. Beep beep. After discussing a few more things, Akira hung up the phone. Mitelt put down the phone and looked at the communication magic circle beside her. Azazel-sama, that's how it is. Akira-sama said his purification speed has increased 100-fold, and he asked me to send over some stronger sacred gears. A few seconds later, a deep male voice came from the communication circle. Send them over. As long as he can enhance those sacred gears, I'll send as many as he wants. Azazel understood clearly. Akira saying such things meant he already knew someone was behind Mitelt. Between the two of them, only a thin layer of paper remained unbroken. After all, with Mitelt's abilities, she definitely couldn't find so many sacred gear users. Only he, Azazel, the governor of the fallen angels, could mobilize so many resources in such a short time. Azazel, the governor of the fallen angels, a man who fell because of women's breasts. He was like those middle-aged fishing enthusiasts, pouring all his energy into something once he became obsessed with it. In the past, he loved chasing women. Now, he only loved researching the sacred gears of the God of the Bible. One day, Azazel discovered that a sacred gear submitted by his subordinates had undergone an unusual evolution, and he was overjoyed. He studied that sacred gear intensely and rewarded the fallen angel accordingly. But soon, he found that similar sacred gears were appearing more and more frequently. Although they weren't submitted by the same fallen angel, these sacred gears had all evolved in ways they shouldn't have. Thus, after tracing the source, Azazel found the origin of these sacred gears: the fallen angels stationed in Kuat Town. According to the fallen angels in Kuat Town, these sacred gears all came from one person, Akira Leviathan. Since Akira was a descendant of the Leviathan bloodline, Azazel abandoned the idea of directly seizing him and instead remained hidden, conducting transactions with Akira from behind the scenes. Azazel was thrilled. His long-term investment had finally paid off. Everyone could train and grow stronger, so why couldn't Akira's purification ability improve as well? Previously, Akira could only provide him with one enhanced low-level sacred gear per month, which was far from enough for his research. Now, knowing that Akira's ability had improved more than 100-fold, Azazel almost jumped for joy. However, that kid has already obtained the evil pieces. To show my sincerity as a loyal customer, should I send him a powerful servant? Azazel pondered for a few seconds. Mitelt, what do you think? How about you? Huh? Governor-sama? I don't want to become Akira-sama's servant. I want to stay in the Fallen Angels organization. Mitelt's eyes welled up with tears. Leaving the Fallen Angels organization to become a demon servant sounded terrifying. Mitelt, you should understand that you have no real value. The only reason you can communicate with me is because of Akira, Azazel calmly reminded her. This. Mitelt instantly deflated. Yes, what right did a mere mid-level fallen angel like her have to defy the governor's orders? Even if Azazel didn't make things difficult for her, other fallen angels, knowing she had offended the governor, would target her to curry favor with him. Alright, Mitelt. If you're willing to go, I can give you a powerful Dragon King sacred gear. If not, you'll stay in Kuat Town for the rest of your life, handling communications with Akira. So, what do you say? Are you willing now? I'm willing. I'm willing to become Akira-sama's servant. Mitelt was a flexible blonde, white-stocking Lolita. On the other side, Akira hung up the phone. For some reason, I feel like Azazel might send over 100 sacred gears at once. Akira himself knew that the one trading with him was Azazel, the governor of the Fallen Angels. The reason Akira knew was Azazel had been far too blatant. He actually told Mitelt to return the sacred gears he had purified back to him for further purification. And he even thoughtfully provided the desired purification direction. Moreover, he had done this more than once. Being so blatant, it was impossible for Akira not to realize that the person trading with him was Azazel. Chapter 16, The Art of Deception. On the surface, Akira was recognized by the current Ma'au as the inheritor of the Leviathan bloodline. However, in reality, the resources Akira received were quite limited, far from matching those of a true Leviathan descendant. But considering that this status was essentially a gift from others, Akira harbored no resentment. The real turning point came 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Agumon took the initiative to ask Akira for something. Tears of the Phoenix, Seraph's compensation for breaking off the engagement. A year after obtaining the Tears of the Phoenix, Agumon seemed to sense something and proactively requested it from Akira. Akira generously handed over the Tears of the Phoenix. After absorbing the Tears of the Phoenix, Agumon's strength broke through the lower-class demon level, reaching mid-class demon. Later, after Agumon explained, Akira realized. Because it had been in his possession for 2 years, the Tears of the Phoenix were no longer just Tears of the Phoenix. The Tears of the Phoenix had evolved, gaining the ability to compensate for innate deficiencies, reshape one's foundation, and promote life evolution. Agumon referred to it as Blood of the Phoenix. After that, Akira became fully aware of his purification and evolution ability. Thus, based on this ability, Akira strengthened and purified various resources around him, gradually establishing collaborations with various factions. Unfortunately, before awakening his bloodline, Akira's purification and evolution abilities were too weak. It took a year of carrying the Tears of the Phoenix to evolve them, and 10 days to half a month to evolve a low-level sacred gear. It was simply too slow. Just yesterday, after his own strength advanced, Akira discovered that his purification ability had also evolved. What originally took a year to purify, the Tears of the Phoenix, now had an astonishing purification speed. Akira estimated it would take only a day to complete the purification. 100-fold increase in purification speed, and that was a conservative estimate. As he walked, Akira arrived at Asia's residence. Because of his foresight of the plot, Akira had altered some events within his capabilities. For example, the boosted gear. Akira had extracted the sacred gear from Sai-Hyotu's body long ago. Unfortunately, due to compatibility issues, even after obtaining the boosted gear, he couldn't use it. For example, Akeno Himejima. Akira had met Akeno before Ryaz did, but lacking the ability and influence to protect her, he could only entrust her to the Greenery family. And then there was Asia. Before Asia arrived in Kuat Town, Akira had already established contact with the fallen angels there. So, before Asia could meet Trainer, Akira intercepted her. After the interception, lacking evil pieces, Akira temporarily settled Asia in a house in Kuat Town. As he approached the house, the golden contract emblem on Akira's hand flashed, and Agumon popped out. Akira, be careful. There's someone in the house besides Asia. Someone? Are they dangerous? Akira raised an eyebrow. Very dangerous, Agumon nodded solemnly. How is that possible? Akira frowned. He initially thought Diodora had discovered Asia's interception and come looking for her. But Agumon said it was dangerous. Diodora's strength was only that of a high-class demon, nowhere near Grayman's level. So, the person inside wasn't Diodora. The next second, Akira heard the system's notification. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, gold, check-in type, location check-in location, office panties, ho. Office? The infinite dragon god. Office? Akira was sure he wasn't mistaken. Uphus, the infinite dragon god, nicknamed the Infinite Mo Dragon. The reason for this nickname was that her appearance was that of a black-haired, expressionless lily. But this lily, in terms of strength, was currently the world's #1. Based on the system's tendencies, the person in the house, the one Iguman sensed as dangerous, is Uphus. Realizing this, Akira's breathing instantly became heavier. Because he had a thought that all transmigrators would naturally have to trick Uphus into becoming his enforcer. Taking out his phone, Akira dialed Asia's number. Ring ring. Hello, Akira-san? Asia, is there someone with you right now? Yes. There is. Asia hesitated for a moment before answering truthfully. The person with you, what's her name? Huh? Akira-san, you already know I brought someone back? Sorry, I didn't mean to bring an outsider into your house without permission. It's fine, Asia. I don't mind. Just tell me her name. Akira calmly waited for Asia's response. Her name is Uphus. I met her yesterday when I went out to buy groceries. She didn't have any adults with her, so I brought her back. I'm really sorry for bringing someone home without asking you first. It's alright, Asia. You did well. Akira smiled. Huh? Did well? Asia didn't understand why Akira said that. Could it be that Akira-san is the kind of person who enjoys helping others? Probably not. When he saved her, Akira had said he did so because he was attracted to her appearance and sacred gear, wanting her to become his servant. Such a straightforward Akira-san, a demon by race, probably didn't have a habit of helping others, only equivalent exchange. Iguman, let's go. Don't worry, the person inside isn't an enemy. After confirming the visitor's identity, Akira walked straight toward the house where Asia was staying. Knock knock. The sound of knocking. Coming. A series of hurried footsteps, and soon, a pure-looking blonde beauty opened the door. Asia was beautiful and pure, giving off an urge to corrupt her. Unfortunately, Akira's attention was entirely focused on the black-haired lily behind her. Uphus. The scent of Drake. Uphus's red lips parted, and her previously lifeless eyes showed a hint of change. Uphus, I believe I have the qualifications to become your contractor. How about it, would you like to form a contract with me? Akira got straight to the point, immediately starting his persuasion. Chapter 17, The Infinite Dragon God has no panties. Here is some hot tea, please enjoy it. In the room, Asia served the tea with great respect. Asia was pure, but not foolish. Uphus-chan must be an important figure, right? Otherwise, Akira-san wouldn't be so concerned. So, she chose to observe quietly. Unless Akira needed her, she wouldn't speak. After all, Akira was her benefactor who had taken her in. After being exiled by the church and losing her status as a saint, Asia had experienced the harshness of the world during her time wandering. So, when Akira told her, I need you. I think you're beautiful, and your abilities are very useful. Will you become my servant? She felt an unprecedented sense of security. While unwarranted kindness was touching, what made Asia feel truly at ease was this clear relationship of mutual need. Thank you. Akira took a sip of tea and calmly looked at Uphus in front of him. Uphus's black hair cascaded down, her eyes unfocused, exuding an aura of tranquility. Unlike the anime where she wore shorts, Uphus was dressed in a black Lolita dress, barefoot on the floor. As the dragon god, even though she walked barefoot, her small feet remained as pristine as jade, looking quite appetizing. Her delicate, pale toes, like finely carved jade, occasionally curled and wiggled, as if playing some unseen melody. Undoubtedly, this was a scene that would make certain individuals with particular tastes excited. Swallowing hard, Akira opened Uphus's status panel. Name, Uphus. Level exceeds host by 100, cannot be viewed. Attribute evaluation, level exceeds host by 100, cannot be viewed. Comprehensive evaluation, A+ level dragon god. Overall review, a chaos aura burrows born in the dimensional rift, expelled by the Red Dragon Emperor. She seeks to return to her homeland and is searching for a contractor in the human world who can assist her. After reading Uphus's data, Akira got straight to the point. Uphus, since you called me Drake, I won't hide it anymore. That's right, I do possess the boosted gear. Akira extended his left hand forward, and a radiant light of red and green illuminated the entire room. Boost, a crimson gauntlet adorned with exquisite green gemstones materialized. Uphus remained silent. Ever since Akira summoned the boosted gear, she hadn't spoken a word. A full half-minute later. Only after thoroughly observing the gauntlet did Uphus finally speak. Drake is dead? Uphus sensed the masterless dragon soul within the sacred gear. Without its own consciousness, it was fair to say it was dead. That's right, dead. However, his death has given the sacred gear a higher potential. Akira answered truthfully. Higher potential? Uphus tilted her head, intrigued. If Drake could advance 2 more steps, he might be able to help her. That's right, higher potential. The newly born boosted gear has the ability to absorb other dragon souls and grow stronger. Absorbing dragon souls. Interesting. Aphis didn't care whether Drake was truly dead. Over the years, she had seen plenty of dragon deaths at the heavenly dragon level. All she cared about was whether Drake's sacred gear could become even stronger. New Drake, if you can provide proof, I will acknowledge you as my contractor and grant you the snake. Aphis raised her small hand slightly, exuding the demeanor of a superior bestowing a favor. Akira smiled wryly. Aphis, first of all, I'm not Drake, nor am I some new Drake. Secondly, if I can provide proof, I don't want your snake. I just want you to promise me that when I need it, you'll help me eliminate threats to my safety and protect me. Actually, Akira's initial plan was to have Aphis stay by his side. But, considering that Cow would go crazy if Aphis disappeared, and the underworld would investigate him thoroughly, he abandoned that idea. Aphis had the power to kill his enemies, but she didn't have the ability to perfectly protect others. If it were revealed that Aphis was staying by his side, whether Aphis was in danger or not, his own danger level would increase exponentially. Until he reached Mao level or even surpassed it, it was better to keep a low profile. It's easy to dodge an open attack, but hard to guard against a hidden arrow. A single dose of Samael's poison could incapacitate Volley, who could use Juggernaut Drive. Although Akira wasn't afraid of Samael's poison, there was no guarantee others wouldn't use other means against him. After considering all factors, Akira gave up on the idea of having Aphis stay by his side. Living a low-profile life, rapidly growing stronger, and summoning Aphis when he encountered unsolvable problems, that was the most secure approach. Fine. If you don't want the snake, then you don't want it. As long as you form a contract with me and become my contractor, I will assist you when you need it. Aphis also agreed with Akira's reasoning. After all, creating the snake didn't cost her anything, but it was still rather boring. As soon as Aphis agreed, Agumon rushed over with a container holding a sacred gear. Akira, I've brought what you asked for from the fallen angels. Just yesterday, Akira still had several dragon-type sacred gears with him. Unfortunately, after obtaining the boosted gear, Akira had absorbed all the dragon-type sacred gears he had in one go. So, he had to send Agumon to Mittel to fetch one on the spot. Aphis, this is the so-called proof. Akira took out the sacred gear dragon hand. A crimson light illuminated the entire room. The sacred gear dragon hand turned into pure energy and flowed into the boosted gear. Taken, accompanied by the boosted gear's notification, a warm current flowed through Akira's body. A few seconds later, Aphis released her small hand from the boosted gear. Good. I acknowledge you as my contractor. Although it was only a tiny bit, the boosted gear had indeed grown stronger. Since we've become contractors, Aphis, I'll give you a gift as well. Akira relaxed and smiled. A gift for me? What is it? Aphis tilted her head, curious but not fully understanding. Agumon, did you bring what I asked for? Coming. Agumon was quite skilled at running errands. Eh? What is this? Asia looked at what Agumon was holding, and her face instantly turned red. It's panties. Asia, you probably didn't know, but Aphis actually doesn't wear any. Akira revealed a truth of the DxD world. That is, the infinite dragon god doesn't wear panties. Eh? Realizing what Akira was about to do, Asia's eyes turned into spirals. She instinctively wanted to stop him but didn't know what to say. After all, giving a pantyless Lily a pair of panties was an act of justice. Aphis, lift your leg, Akira said, holding open the blue and white panties. Aphis nodded slightly. Actually, she had been pondering a question. Yesterday, when she met Asia had tripped and fallen in front of her. At that time, Aphis had seen the white fabric under Asia's skirt. Something she didn't have. So, when she learned that Akira's gift was the fabric she lacked under her skirt, Aphis was very happy. Although she was happy, Aphis couldn't express her emotions well. In the end, she only slightly curved her lips and gently hugged Akira's head, nothing more. Since Akira was squatting in front of her, she could easily embrace his head. Chapter 18, Aphis's purpose. After the blue and white panties were fitted, Aphis felt a sense of security emanating from under her skirt. So this is the purpose of the fabric under the skirt? Aphis felt like she had learned something new. Akira looked up, his expression slightly subtle. To be honest, being hugged by Aphis just now didn't feel particularly comfortable. After all, Aphis was a flat-chested Lily. Although flat-chested individuals were rare in this world. But flat-chested is still flat-chested. Ding, congratulations, host, for completing the villain check-in level, gold, check-in type, location check-in location, Aphis panties, congratulations, host, for receiving the reward, Masterless Enhanced White Dragon Emperor's Dragon Soul, Masterless Enhanced White Dragon Emperor's Dragon Soul, A masterless dragon soul of the White Dragon Emperor that has advanced further. Can be used for sacred gear upgrades. Ding. Detected a reward that can be fused. Would the host like to fuse? Fuse. Akira swallowed hard. This system reward directly solved his urgent problem. Originally, Akira had chosen to hide the boosted gear to operate in the shadows, letting Agumon handle things most of the time. But if his sacred gear could gain the abilities of the Vanishing Dragon's wings, he could openly use the powers of the Red Dragon Emperor or the White Dragon Emperor. Ding. Masterless White Dragon Emperor's Dragon Soul Fusion successful. Congratulations, host, for obtaining Longinus Dance of the Red and White Dragons, Dance of the Red and White Dragons, a sacred gear that fuses the dragon souls of the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor, enhancing the potential of both. Can use the abilities of the Red Dragon Emperor and the White Dragon Emperor separately or together. Additional effects require the host to explore. Roar, roar, roar. The sound of dragon roars echoed. Behind Akira, white and blue lights intertwined, and a pair of ice blue light wings flickered in and out. White armor and blue gemstones. This was the signature of the White Dragon Emperor, corresponding to the red armor and green gemstones of the Red Dragon Emperor. A few seconds later, the light wings solidified completely, emitting waves of ice blue light particles. Akira. Aphis called Akira's name, her calm gaze fluctuating once more. Just now, Akira's sacred gear had evolved right in front of her. Absorbing a dragon soul to evolve, she could understand that. What she couldn't understand was, where did the White Dragon Emperor's dragon soul come from? Actually, this is my ability. I can make sacred gears and various items evolve, Akira explained helplessly. Aphis nodded, not saying much. She didn't care what Akira's ability was, as long as he could help her achieve her goal of killing the Red Dragon God Emperor. Here, take this. After thinking for a moment, Aphis extended her small hand and carved an Ouroboros crest in the air. With a gentle push, the Ouroboros crest flew forward and landed on Akira's chest. This is the Dragon God's blessing. With it, you can resist several attacks below the Dragon God level for a short time. If you encounter danger, you can also use it to contact me. Alright. I understand. Akira touched the Ouroboros crest on his chest. He felt like a kept man being pampered by a wealthy woman. But it had to be said, being pampered felt amazing. Being pampered by a wealthy Loi felt even better. Sorry, Nao-san, you were right. If it helps achieve the goal, what's wrong with enjoying some easy benefits? With Aphis' crest as a life-saving tool, Akira didn't even need to hide the boosted gear anymore. After engraving the crest, Aphis nodded in satisfaction. According to my estimation, as long as you absorb one more heavenly dragon soul or several dragon king souls, the dragon soul in your Longinus can advance to the sub-dragon god level. However, there's no need to rush the advancement. You are a demon with a long lifespan. I can wait until you are fully prepared to execute the contract. I understand. Akira nodded. Of course, he wouldn't challenge the Red Dragon God Emperor without being fully prepared. That would be suicidal. Even if he advanced to the sub-dragon god level, he didn't plan to act. Killing the Red Dragon God Emperor? He'd wait until he reached the Dragon God level. Aphis moved her fair, delicate feet, preparing to leave. Akira. If you encounter danger, remember to call me. I'll take my leave now. Aphis, I'll call you if I run into problems I can't solve. But are you sure you don't want to stay a bit longer? Akira wanted to spend more time bonding with Aphis. No need, my purpose for wandering hasn't been fulfilled yet. What's your purpose? Akira raised an eyebrow. He had thought Aphis was just wandering around and happened to be attracted to Asia, who had a physique that drew dragons. My purpose? I'm looking for someone. Who? The God of the Bible, or rather, the remnants of the God of the Bible. Or perhaps, the descendants of the God of the Bible? Aphis switched through several explanations. Listening to Aphis's explanation, a glint flashed in Akira's eyes. The God of the Bible, of course, only someone of that level would catch Aphis's attention. An hour later, Akira had finished gathering the information he was interested in from Aphis. Aphis had also devoured all the snacks Akira had stored at home. Akira. Your gift. I like it very much. Aphis lifted the blue and white bowl and gave Akira a thumbs up. Accompanied by Asia's embarrassed scream, Aphis turned into a wisp of smoke and disappeared before the two. After seeing Aphis off, Akira immersed his mind and opened the system interface. Actually, when he fused Aphis's crest, he had heard the system's notification. Ding. Detected that the host's energy has reached the standard. Officially activating the multiverse check-in function, absorbing chaos energy, estimated absorption time, 24 hours. After 24 hours, the multiverse check-in function will be officially activated. Please look forward to it, multiverse check-in. Akira was very satisfied with the multiverse check-in function. because this not only meant he could travel to other worlds but also that his check-in opportunities would double, speeding up his growth. Chapter 19, Diodorah's crumbling mind. After closing the system interface, Akira began the process of collecting his servant. However, just as he took out the evil piece, there was a violent knocking at the door. Bang bang bang. Open the door. Akira. I know you're in there. Open the door. Boom. Before Akira could respond, the door was forcefully blown open. A ferocious young demon barged in, looking furious. Akira narrowed his eyes, looking at the young demon who had broken in. Diodorah, didn't the Astroth family teach you the manners of a high-class demon? The young demon was named Diodorah Astroth. In the original story, he became the next head of the Astroth family. For now, although he had already joined the Chaos Brigade and obtained the snake that could enhance his abilities, he hadn't yet secured the position of the next family head. In the current underworld, aside from the ancient families with special abilities, there were some families with even more special status. That is, the original families of the current four Great Maus. The current four Great Maus didn't originally have the surnames Lucifer, Leviathan, Beelzebub, Asmodeus. They had their own original surnames and families of origin. The Grimory family was the original family of Surst Lucifer. The Citri family was the original family of Seraphol Leviathan. And the Astroth family was the original family of Adika Beelzebub. Therefore, Diodorah was also a blood relative of a Mau, giving him a special status in the underworld. Normally, Diodorah was a well-mannered, smiling tiger. Even if his expressions and inner thoughts were twisted to the extreme, he wouldn't easily lose his temper. But today, he couldn't hold it in any longer. Screw your damn manners. Get out of my way. Akira. Do you have to interfere with everything I do? I've found out. The saint I worked so hard to get from the church was intercepted by you. Akira, nicknamed the Interception King. Although some events that had already happened couldn't be changed, Akira naturally changed what he could. Like intercepting intelligence, intercepting sacred gears, and intercepting beauties. Diodorah was the biggest victim of Akira's beauty interceptions. Because, in the original story, he had corrupted over a dozen saints. Now, all of them had become Akira's personal possessions. How could he not be furious? But then again, Akira had been at Asia's place for an hour before Diodorah arrived. At that speed, it was no wonder he got cucked and intercepted. Diodorah was a perverted demon. His greatest interest was hunting saints from the church. His favorite thing to do was to make saints fall from grace. His specific method was to have the saints come into contact with him, then leak the information about the saints interacting with demons to the church. Knowing that the saints had interacted with demons, most churches would expel the saints. This way, he could take in those saints, tell them the truth, and violate those tearful saints. Making saints fall because of him, this was something that would surely bring him immense pleasure, both physically and mentally. Unfortunately, while fantasies were beautiful, reality was cruel. Every time he painstakingly managed to get a saint out of the church, someone always beat him to it, intercepting the saint he had his eyes on before he could make his move. There was no helping it. He was a demon of the underworld and needed to stay there, unable to constantly monitor the human world. This left him vulnerable to being outmaneuvered. However, after being outmaneuvered so many times, Diodorah had summarized his experience. By the time he lost his third saint, Diodorah was certain that the person was definitely in the human world. By the time he lost his seventh saint, Diodorah was certain that the other party had the ability to use fallen angels and angels to stall him. By the time he lost his 13th saint, Diodorah was certain that the other party was in Kwa Town. And Asia was his 16th intercepted saint. Asia had just let him know that the Interception King was Akira. Actually, if Akira hadn't awakened his golden finger and stopped hiding, Diodorah would never have found him. Because Akira had traded with the fallen angels for many investigative, intelligence and concealment artifacts, and could also mobilize some low-level fallen angels. Although they were all low-level sacred gears, they were more than enough to deal with Diodorah. Half an hour ago, Diodorah received intelligence that Akira had met with Asia. After checking the records, he learned that Akira had obtained the evil pieces just the day before. Getting the evil pieces yesterday and meeting Asia today, his goal was obvious. So, he dropped everything and rushed to the human world. Mr. Diodorah. Asia recognized this effeminate young demon. That's right. It's me. Asia. It's so good that you still remember me, Asia. Seeing Asia greet him, Diodorah instantly changed his expression, becoming the hypocritically gentle demon youth again. Mr. Diodorah, Akira-san told me that you were the one who deliberately leaked the information, that you were the one who caused the church to expel me. Is that true? Asia's eyes were filled with tears, and her gaze at Diodorah was no longer gentle. No, that's not true, Asia, it was just an accident. You're lying. It wasn't an accident at all. Akira-san let me meet the other saints who were expelled. They all said they had met you, and the reason they were expelled was because they had contact with demons. How could there be so many coincidences in the world? Asia was naive, but not stupid. Akira Leviathan. Diodora didn't look at Asia anymore but instead shot a vicious gaze at Akira. It was because of him. It was all because of him. Otherwise, he would have already enjoyed himself so many times by now. Having so many saints intercepted, Diodora had long since developed a deep hatred for the person behind it. It's you. It's you. It's you. If it weren't for you. Die. A powerful wave of demonic energy erupted, and several magic bullets shot toward Akira. Agumon, go. Understood. Akira? Agumon extended its claws, a golden red fireball forming in its mouth. Diodora's strength was similar to Sona's, only a B-tier high-class demon. Even if Agumon didn't evolve into Greymon, it could still easily handle him. Baby Flame. After spitting out the baby flame, Agumon charged forward alongside it. Zap zap zap. Agumon used its claws to pop the magic bullets in the air one by one. Boom. The baby flame hit its mark, and Diodora was sent flying by the violent explosion. As the dust settled, the effeminate young demon lay on the ground, with Agumon's sharp claws aimed at his vital points. In terms of mental fortitude and combat ability, Diodora was clearly inferior to Suna. Perhaps this was the difference between becoming the next family head through one's own efforts and becoming the next family head through the snake. Diodora, you're going to pay for my house. Akira narrowed his eyes and stomped hard on Diodora. Diodora had broken the rules. High-class demons couldn't attack each other without prior notice. So, Akira had every right to do this. Akira. Diodora grabbed Akira's legs, his eyes filled with venomous hatred. Agumon, shut him up, thud. Agumon's claws closed, and the blunt side struck down hard, hitting Diodora's chest. PFFT. With his heart and magic source taking a heavy hit, Diodora spat out a mouthful of blood. Taking advantage of his momentary lapse, Akira placed his hand on Diodora's head. Memory erasure spell activate. Akira was going to erase part of Diodora's memory. If Diodora could find Asia's residence, he could deduce that Akira had some connection with the fallen angels. Although it wasn't enough to deduce that Akira was already collaborating with other factions, Akira still wasn't entirely at ease. With Diodora's personality, even without evidence, just to spite him, he would definitely report this intel. Agumon, let him go. After erasing the memory, Akira had no further interest in Diodora and walked straight toward Asia. Asia, actually, I came here to turn you into my servant. Akira took out a white Pawneval piece. Asia was a saint, so naturally, a black piece wouldn't be suitable. Looking at the white piece in Akira's hand, Asia was stunned for several seconds before coming back to her senses. Yes. I'm willing, Akira-san. The golden-haired beauty's emerald green eyes were filled with tears. Actually, she had always thought Akira was a good person. Even if he was a demon, he was a good demon. If he weren't a good person, why would he take in so many saints? If he were only interested in church saints, wouldn't one or two be enough? Asia was a pure-hearted girl. She didn't know that men were greedy, nor did she know about the collect-them-all approach. Chapter 20, Balance Breaker Mode. Evolution materials acquired. The white chess piece gradually merged into Asia's body. Soon, Chiba Akira heard the system's notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the check-in task. Check-in level, purple. Check-in type, event check-in event, capture of the saint. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, Balance Breaker Mode. Balance Breaker Mode, as the name suggests, the sacred gear obtained by the host can be immediately mastered, and the balance breaker can be activated. Additionally, the host can help others awaken their balance breaker. Balance breaker. This term made Chiba Akira feel slightly excited. An ordinary sacred gear and a sacred gear with an activated balance breaker were completely different concepts. An intermediate-level demon using a sacred gear normally could only reach the level of a high-class demon at most. When facing the 10-winged fallen angel Goku the Eel, even though Sai-Hyuta used the transferability to amplify Ryaz's power dozens of times, reaching the level of a top-class demon, they still couldn't defeat Goku the Eel, who was at the level of a Mao. However, the balance breaker was different. The balance breaker could elevate the user's power by another level, allowing an intermediate-level demon to defeat a top-class demon. Moreover, in a burst state, it was possible to elevate the power by yet another stage. Of course, the balance breaker wasn't without its weaknesses. High output, fragile body, and short duration were common issues for sacred gear users. In the balance breaker state, the duration was even shorter. In the later stages of the story, although many sacred gear users challenged the main characters, without using the balance breaker, their bodies were extremely fragile. Whoosh, white feathers scattered. 8 white angel wings grew from Asia's back. Seeing this, Chiba Akira nodded in satisfaction. After absorbing the mutation piece, the stronger the person's luck, the greater the enhancement they would receive. As expected of one of the main heroines of the story, Asia directly grew 8 angel wings, and her strength skyrocketed from that of an ordinary human to the peak of a high-class demon. Chiba Akira knew that this was just the beginning. As Asia continued to train, the number of wings on her back would increase, and eventually, Asia would most likely become a 12-winged angel. Asia gently touched the wings on her back and looked at Chiba Akira with a gaze full of devotion. The way Asia looked at Chiba Akira wasn't with gratitude or emotion, but with devotion. Soon, Chiba Akira understood the reason behind Asia's gaze. Chiba Akira-san, actually, yesterday, I received a revelation from God. God said that tomorrow, the Holy Sun would take me as his servant. And then, Chiba Akira-san, you came to find me the very next day. So, does that mean I'm the so-called Holy Sun? Chiba Akira's mouth twitched slightly. He was a demon. If Asia wasn't dreaming, then the only explanation was that the god of the Bible had lost his mind. Miss Neto, there's someone here I need you to handle. Please transfer him to the Astroth family's main house. Chiba Akira-sama, who do you want me to handle? Don Astroth of the Astroth family. Why do we need to handle him? Because he came looking for trouble, and I beat him up. Understood. Please wait a moment, I'll be there shortly. 10 minutes later. After dealing with Don, Chiba Akira headed to school. At the school gate, a long, black-haired beauty with glasses had been waiting for some time. Chiba Akira-sama, the president requests your presence. Tsubaki Shinra adjusted her glasses and bowed respectfully. Although she had always respected Chiba Akira before, the level of respect she showed now was on a completely different level. Previously, her respect was due to Chiba Akira's status. Now, her respect was due to Chiba Akira's strength, intelligence, and courage. Yesterday, Sona had fainted, but Tsubaki Shinra had remained conscious. While tending to Sona, she had witnessed the entire process of Chiba Akira extorting the Mao. The strength to defeat Sona, the intelligence to outmaneuver her, and the boldness to plan the extortion of a Mao from the very beginning. Tsubaki Shinra genuinely believed that Chiba Akira was the most suitable partner for Sona. Student Council Room. When Sona saw Chiba Akira, her rose-colored eyes were filled with turmoil. It seemed that the influence of the high-dimensional succubus bloodline hadn't worn off yet. After taking several deep breaths, Sona finally managed to suppress the urge to get closer to Chiba Akira. Once seated, tea was served. After the formalities, Sona brought out 2 safes. Chiba Akira-kun, the first safe contains 3 drops of phoenix tears. The second safe contains the equivalent value in monster corpses. Big sister said she doesn't want to see you, so she asked me to deliver these to you. Alright, I've received the items. Chiba Akira checked the contents of the 2 safes, feeling slightly excited. He had calculated the price beforehand. 3 drops of phoenix tears would be enough to solidify a Guman's foundation. The purified data from the monster corpses would allow a Guman to evolve into Metal Greymon. Once this batch was fully absorbed, Chiba Akira's Aguman would become a true perfect-level Digimon. When its foundation was incomplete, Aguman was already invincible among high-class demons. After solidifying its foundation, wouldn't it become even more overpowered? Suna looked at Chiba Akira's handsome face, unsure of how she felt. She didn't have any thoughts like, my sister was scammed by this despicable man. Instead, her mind was filled with strange thoughts like, if Big Sister hadn't been able to provide these items, would I have been claimed by Chiba Akira-kun last night? Just kissing Chiba Akira had already made her heart race and feel so good. If she were to be filled by him. No. No, no, no. Sona slapped herself hard, finally snapping out of her strange state. The sound of Sona slapping herself caught Chiba Akira's attention. Was Sona acting a bit off today? Was the succubus bloodline's effect still lingering? No wonder the high-dimensional succubus bloodline was so potent. Thinking back to Miss Neto's insatiable demands last night, Chiba Akira nodded in understanding. If even a mature woman like Miss Neto couldn't resist, it made sense that Sona couldn't either. It wasn't that he disliked Sona. If Sona were to offer herself, he would probably hesitate for a few seconds before accepting. However, claiming Sona now was still too early. If he were to take Sona before their engagement was officially dissolved, and it was discovered, they would be forced to marry. The demon race took such matters very seriously. Once a pure-blooded demon was engaged, both parties were expected to remain chaste until marriage. If premarital relations were discovered, and it was with their fiancé, the worst outcome would be an early marriage. However, if it was with someone else, the offending party would have to pay a terrifying compensation to the other party. If the wronged party still wished to proceed with the marriage, they would gain the right to take an additional legal spouse. Because the consequences were so severe, many pure-blooded demons, despite their naturally promiscuous tendencies, exercised restraint before marriage. P.S. A patch regarding the collection of Phoenix servants. The protagonist still acts when necessary. Due to Chiba Akira's influence, Riser's servants are temporarily under the care of his younger sister, Ravel. After finishing his inspection, Chiba Akira stored the safes in his personal storage space. The inspection is complete. Serafal has fulfilled her part of the contract, and I will also honor the contract by destroying the one I made with you, Sona. Hearing this, Sona's feelings were complicated. Destroying the contract with me. This was the result her sister had achieved at great cost. So why didn't she feel happy about it? Was it because she had fallen for Chiba Akira? Had she fallen for this boy who was both smarter and stronger than her? But at least, Chiba Akira-kun only destroyed the contract that required me to offer myself. Our engagement still stands, that means Chiba Akira-kun and I are still engaged. Thinking this, Sona felt somewhat reassured. However, Chiba Akira's next words instantly made her heart sink. Sona, I think it's better if we dissolve our engagement. Huh? Sona was stunned. Chapter 21, The Difference Between Marrying into a Family and Being Married Off Akira-kun. You. What did you say? Sona couldn't believe it. She never thought she would be the one to have a marriage proposal revoked. Sona, I said I want to dissolve our engagement, Akira repeated. Why? Why? Because I don't want to marry into the Saitri family. Even if I were to marry you, Sona, I would want you to marry into my family, not the other way around, Akira explained honestly. So that's how it is. Sona let out a sigh of relief. It turned out that Akira wasn't rejecting her. He simply wanted to switch their roles in the engagement and take the dominant position. Akira-kun, you do know your status, right? Yes, I am the nominal heir of the former Leviathan bloodline. Akira-kun, besides that, you should also know my status, correct? Yes, you are the younger sister of the current Leviathan and the sole heir to the Saitri family. Akira-kun, knowing all this, you should understand the underworld would never allow the former Leviathan to take the dominant position in a marriage with the blood relative of the current Leviathan. The Saitri family would also never agree to let their only heir marry into another family. Seeing Sona's serious expression, Akira sighed helplessly. So, if I want to take the dominant position, I'll have to change my marriage partner? Huh? Wait, Akira-kun, that's not what I meant. Sona was suddenly flustered. I just want you to accept your status and marry me as it is? Such words sounded too arrogant and selfish. Yet, this was indeed Sona's first thought. Realizing she had such thoughts, Sona's pride as a high-class demon was shattered. So this was how it felt to be the weaker party facing the stronger one? In the past, Akira had been in this position while interacting with her, and it was under such circumstances that he had strived to become stronger. The situation had only reversed for a day or two, and she already couldn't stand it. But Akira had endured it for over a decade. No wonder the former Akira had looked at her with the eyes of a rival. I know, Sona. You just don't want to break off our engagement. In truth, I also like you a lot, Akira explained. If you like me, then why do you still want to dissolve the engagement? Sona pursed her lips, confused. Why? Because I don't want to be bound by the current system of the underworld. In this regard, Sona, you and I are the same. If you want to realize your dream of establishing a school in the underworld, you must change the current system. So, from this perspective, we are comrades fighting against the existing system of the underworld. If we're comrades, then why do we still need to dissolve the engagement? Sona was still puzzled. Why, you ask? Because the two of us alone aren't enough. We need more allies. Only by dissolving my engagement with you can I participate in Ryaz's engagement and bring her to our side. Ryaz? You mean? You want to become Ryaz's fiancé? Sona felt her heart tighten even more. That's right. There's no other way. If we want to change the underworld system, our current strength is too weak. Akira believed that his engagement with Ryaz was of great significance. Ryaz and Sona were fundamentally different. He couldn't be stronger than Sona because that would represent the former Leviathan's resurgence over the current Leviathan. However, he could be stronger than Ryaz. Since his relationship with Ryaz would be seen as free love, the stronger he became, the more pleased others would be. Once the news of his engagement with Ryaz spread, he would be able to use the boosted gear without any reservations. This way, Sursts would be seen as his backer. Both Sursts and other demons would refrain from targeting him due to his engagement with Ryaz. Thus, he would have the right to openly build his own forces and prepare for his future independence. So, even if it was just a formality, Akira had to go through with the engagement with Ryaz. Sona wanted to say something but found herself at a loss for words. Akira was right. In their current state, trying to change the underworld system was nothing short of a pipe dream. They needed to unite more forces. Since the matter is settled, I'll take my leave now. Ryaz is also waiting to discuss the engagement with me. Akira stood up, ready to leave. Sona, no matter what, I truly do like you. When I have enough strength, I will definitely propose to the Saitri family. With those words, Akira opened the student council room door and left. Sona pondered over Akira's words, her rose-colored eyes widening in realization. Akira-kun. Do you realize what your words imply? Sona sought final confirmation. Akira marrying into her family and her marrying into his were two entirely different concepts. I know what it means. If the current family head is unwilling to let their daughter marry out, and someone wants to forcibly take away the only pure-blooded heir, they must defeat every remaining member of that family. That's right, it means. Sona's expression grew serious. It means I have to defeat Serafal. Akira-kun, what do you think your chances are of defeating Serafal-sama? 1000%. Huh? Akira-kun, do you really think you can defeat Serafal-sama? She was one of the current 4 great Satans. Sona, if you don't even dare to have the ambition to defeat Serafal, you might as well give up on your dreams now. That's all. Akira turned to leave, closing the student council room door behind him. Thud. Sona collapsed onto the sofa, her eyes filled with confusion. Originally, she had thought that Akira wasn't worthy of her. Now, it seemed that she wasn't worthy of Akira. Not only did she fall short in terms of intellect and strength, but she also lacked the determination and ambition that Akira possessed. Such a her truly didn't have the right to demand that Akira marry into her family. Huh. Taking deep breaths, Sona thought for a long time. Finally, she made a risky decision. Tsubaki, come with me. Didn't we recently find a powerful sacred gear user? I plan to transplant that sacred gear into myself. A pure-blooded demon using a sacred gear would undoubtedly be stronger than a reincarnated demon using one. Due to the changes in the story, transplanting sacred gears was no longer exclusive to the fallen angels. Alright. Tsubaki nodded. She had wanted to remind Sona about the sacred gear compatibility issue, but she knew Sona had already considered it. My attribute is water, and that sacred gear is dragon-based. Dragons control clouds and rain, so the compatibility shouldn't be too low. Only by obtaining that sacred gear will I have the qualifications to stand on equal footing with Akira-kun and be able to help him. Although Sona hoped that Akira would truly defeat Serafal and come to marry her, she wasn't the type to simply wait for a man to grow stronger while she cheered from the sidelines. She too wanted to do what she could. Chapter 22, The Counterattack of the Old Mao on the Other Side. Just as Akira closed the student council door, he heard the system's notification sound. Ding, congratulations, host, for triggering a villain check-in level, colorful, check-in type, stage event check-in event. The old Mao's conquest of the current Mao, requirement, dominate Serafal Leviathan and Sona Saitri both physically and mentally, marry them, and succeed as the Mao, completing the old Mao's glorious counterattack against the current Mao. Note, Sona is silver, Serafal is gold. Marrying both and succeeding as Mao will reward you with a colorful level reward. As expected of a colorful check-in, the difficulty is not low. However, even without this check-in task, this is a goal I must achieve. Humphrey, you think you can use me as a tool and then run away? Akira had always been very intrigued by the phrase in Serafal's profile, her bloodline has been purified to the extreme, resulting in an evolution. Although there was no concrete evidence, Serafal most likely benefited from his influence to become stronger than in the original storyline. As soon as Akira triggered Sona's task, the student council door behind him suddenly swung open. Akira-kun. Sona rushed out of the student council room and hugged Akira tightly. Akira-kun, you just said you were confident you could defeat my sister, right? That's correct. Then, is it you or your Aguman who is confident in defeating my sister? Sona had found the loophole. Akira had not mentioned anything about Aguman earlier. If Akira dared to say this, it meant his own strength was far beyond what he had shown. Is it me or Aguman who is confident? Both Aguman and I are confident in defeating Serafal, Akira answered truthfully. Good. Then, Akira-kun, please show me this confidence. Sona's eyes were filled with determination. She wanted to see just how far Akira could go. A few minutes later, on a grassy field, Shinra Tsubaki adjusted her glasses and watched as Sona and Akira faced each other. Sona, as her king, had keenly noticed that Akira had been hiding his true strength. However, a question arose. If he had been hiding his strength before, why was Akira revealing it now? Had he achieved his goal, making it unnecessary to hide anymore? What was Akira's goal, then? To break off the engagement with Sona? Or to marry Ryaz? Akira, my goal? Of course, it's to get engaged to Ryaz. Getting engaged to Ryaz and getting engaged to Suna are two completely different things. Being engaged to Ryaz allows me to freely use my power. Being engaged to Suna means I can't show strength surpassing hers. As Shinra Tsubaki pondered this, she observed the battle between Akira and Suna. Suna, if I win, I want you to become my ally and help me change the system of the underworld. Akira raised his left hand and spoke slowly. No problem, Akira-kun. Our dreams don't conflict. Moreover, I would be delighted to witness the process of you changing the underworld. Suna nodded, preparing herself. The next moment. Boost, the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet appeared. Crimson aura erupted. The green jewel shone with dazzling light. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker, Forbidden Move. Red Dragon Emperor's armor. Boosted gear scale male, the Crimson Dragon armor instantly materialized. Such immense spiritual power. Suna's beautiful eyes widened, ripples of astonishment reflecting in them. Such powerful dragon spiritual energy had surpassed that of a high-class devil, reaching the level of an ultimate-class devil. Is this what Akira-kun had been hiding? Akira-kun, this is. Suna swallowed hard and asked. This is the balance breaker form of the Longinus, boosted gear, Akira replied calmly. A Longinus. Suna couldn't hide her surprise. After regaining her composure, Suna unconsciously curled her lips into a smile. Akira-kun truly was Akira-kun. He had thought of using a sacred gear to strengthen himself before she did. While she was still in the planning stage, Akira had already put it into practice and even unlocked the balance breaker of his sacred gear. He truly was the Akira-kun she admired. Ha! Suna raised her hands, and powerful water magic surged. The Saitri family's exclusive magic circle quickly formed. A torrent capable of crushing mountains shot forward. There was no resistance. The water torrent directly struck the Red Dragon Emperor's armor. Sizzle. Akira stood firm, allowing Suna's water to wash over the armor. Name, Akira, level 184 equals level 99 plus level 85, high tier ultimate class devil, attribute evaluation, note, strength within the same level, strength, B, speed, B, magic, B plus, physical defense, B, magic proficiency, C, bloodline ability, SS plus, comprehensive evaluation, B class ultimate class devil, overall rating, slightly above average. Since he needed to be compared to opponents of the same level, Akira's attributes had dropped slightly. However, even so, Akira was a genuine ultimate class devil. In fact, he was among the best of them. Suna didn't give up and used the same giant water sphere she had used against Aguman. Whoosh! The massive water sphere carved out 100 meters of ground. But in the huge crater, Akira remained unharmed. Suna's attack was powerful enough to alter the terrain, but it still couldn't harm Akira. After all, water was just water. And Akira was a rock. Their mass and density were completely mismatched. The Red Dragon Emperor's armor had incredible defensive capabilities, capable of blocking most attacks from opponents of the same level. Let alone an opponent one level lower. For several minutes, Shinra Tsubaki calmly watched as Suna unleashed various attacks. Soon, after using all her techniques, Suna raised her hand. Akira-kun, I concede. Surrendering to a Longinus user who had unlocked Balance Breaker was not something Suna considered shameful. Student Council Room. Soon, Akira and the others returned to the Student Council Room. Akira-kun, the engagement has been annulled. From now on, we are no longer engaged. Before the battle began, Suna had torn up the engagement contract in front of Akira. Now, she and Akira were no longer engaged. But she felt that the distance between her and Akira had grown closer. She understood Akira better now, and the distance between their hearts had narrowed significantly. Suna let out a long sigh, stood up, and walked over to Akira. Her eyes carried a hint of resolve. As a farewell gift, Akira-kun, can you kiss me? As she spoke, Suna's face turned an unprecedented shade of red, and her slender, pale hands fidgeted nervously. For a proud evil princess like Suna, confessing and saying such things had already exhausted all her courage. Akira didn't say anything, only nodding silently. Seeing Akira nod, Suna's lips curled into a smile. After mentally preparing herself, Suna slowly sat on Akira's lap and held his hands. For devils, strength was the best aphrodisiac. Moreover, even before knowing Akira's true strength, Suna had already been unable to resist. Suna. Akira placed one hand on Suna's slender waist, moving upward, while the other hand reached for the hem of her skirt. Men and women were different. Men often couldn't control their hands during intimate moments. Akira-kun, you're a bad person. Suna felt Akira's movements, her heart racing like never before. Her body was producing estrogen in preparation for bearing offspring. She knew that if this continued, she wouldn't be able to hold back. It wouldn't just stop at a kiss. But from the beginning, She had no intention of holding back. Akira's golden eyes met Sona's pink ones. The next moment, the distance between their faces narrowed to just a few centimeters. Their gazes intertwined, tender as water. Their bloodlines merged, fierce as fire. On the sofa. By the bookshelf. On the student council desk. Akira savored the taste of the underworld's princess. Ding. Detected that host is seizing destiny. High-dimensional succubus bloodline activated. Ding. Congratulations, host, for obtaining pure-blooded Citre bloodline, unawakened or mutated. Host's level increased by 10. Now at level 109, low-tier high-class devil, the high-dimensional succubus bloodline can also increase levels. Then why didn't it work when I was with Hayasaka Neto? Ding. Hayasaka Neto's destiny was absorbed by the host during childhood. In addition to absorbing destiny and enhancing chi-like abilities, the high-dimensional succubus bloodline can also replicate and enhance bloodlines. The more connections with the bloodline source, the greater the enhancement for both parties. I see. As expected of the high-dimensional succubus bloodline. Akira narrowed his eyes. Intimate contact with anime heroines not only increased experience but also strengthened his foundation. Was this encouraging him to conquer the entire underworld? Indeed, the high-dimensional succubus bloodline's effects weren't limited to attracting the opposite sex. Ding. Congratulations, host, for completing the villain check-in level, silver, check-in type, stage event check-in event, the old Mao's conquest of the current Mao, stage 1. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the reward, divine authority silver arm that tears apart, a divine authority from the god Nuada. When activated, the flesh hand transforms into a silver metallic hand, enveloping a weapon with immense cursed power, granting it the miraculous ability to split the earth, alter terrain, and part the seas. In theory, using the silver arm that tears apart, one can wield a demonic sword capable of cutting through anything. The object doesn't need to be a sword, even a toothpick or branch can become a demonic sword. Although he had obtained an excellent offensive ability, Akira didn't pay too much attention to the system's rewards. He was busy dealing with Suna. Suna was a formidable opponent. Although both Suna and Hayasaka Neto were high-class devils, the physical differences between a reincarnated devil and a pure-blooded devil were vast. How could a recently reincarnated devil compare to a high-class devil nurtured by a pure-blooded lineage for over a decade? Thus, today, both Akira and Suna skipped class. Noon. Student council room. Suna sat on Akira's lap, her hands clasped with his. The bespectacled girl gently bit her rosy, alluring lips, her lips curving into a sweet smile, her dimples showing. Feeling Akira's pulse, Sona's rhythm gradually synchronized with his. Before long, Sona felt a new surge of energy. This energy felt both familiar and foreign. It somewhat resembled Leviathan's magic, but overall, the similarity was minimal. After a morning, Sona's hair was disheveled, and her usually noble and cold face was now flushed and radiant. The princess of the underworld gazed quietly at the young man beneath her, her watery pink eyes filled with submission and satisfaction. Sona was very satisfied. Whether mentally, physically, or in her lower abdomen, she was so satisfied that she felt she might overflow. Akira-kun, do you know why I did this? Sona asked softly. Because. Before Akira could finish, Sona answered first. Because I no longer plan to marry anyone else, so maintaining my chastity before marriage no longer holds any meaning. Akira didn't say anything, only reaching out to stroke Sona's sweat-dampened black hair. Akira-kun, I did this to give you more pressure, to Akira-kun, you must come to the Citre family to marry me. Otherwise, I'll never be able to marry anyone else, Sona pouted, reminding him. I know. What I promise, I will fulfill. Akira smiled lightly. Although he felt no pressure, he would indeed work hard to keep his promise. What pressure could Akira have? As the successor of the old Mao Leviathan, he had conquered the younger sister of the current Mao Leviathan. Such a thing only filled him with a sense of conquest and immense satisfaction. Compared to pressure, Akira was more concerned about danger. Compared to the pressure of being intimate with the princess of the underworld, the potential dangers of lacking strength and influence were what truly worried Akira. Now, anyone who wanted to move against him would have to consider Seraphol, who stood behind Suna. So, compared to the time when he was thinking of running away, the current Akira truly felt no pressure. Akira-kun, I believe in you. Hearing Akira's promise, Sona swayed her hips, expressing her approval. Chapter 23, Sona's special permission. Sona was closely intertwined with Akira. Suddenly, an inexplicable aura filled the air, and Sona's presence intensified significantly. Did you break through? A high-class devil? Sona hadn't expected to break through in such a manner. Sona, it's not just you. I've also broken through. Akira also released the power of a high-class devil. Although he was a high-class devil and Sona was now an ultimate class devil, Due to his higher dimensional bloodline, the gap between them wasn't very large. Is this not your ability, Akira? Sona guessed. Akira nodded. You could say that. I can help others evolve. After establishing a close relationship, I can also gain some benefits from them, helping myself evolve as well. Hearing this, Sona rested her head on Akira's shoulder for a few seconds before responding. Such an overpowered ability. Looks like Akira was born to be a pervert. And, if I'm not mistaken, the reason you're so strong is because you've already been with many people. At this thought, Sona couldn't help but bite Akira's shoulder hard. Ouch. Sona, actually, I only found out about this effect today. Akira was also helpless. If he had known earlier, he would have been leveling up like crazy. If he had gone through Diodora's dozen or so priestesses, wouldn't he have at least reached high-class devil strength by now? You only found out today. Which means. Sona's eyes gradually brightened, and two heart shapes visibly appeared in her pink pupils. As a result, Sona hugged Akira even tighter, so much so that her eyes rolled back, and drool began to flow uncontrollably. This was her way of compensating for misunderstanding Akira. However, soon, Sona felt that such compensation wasn't enough. By the way, Akira. Since you have such an ability, I can give you a special permission, Sona said, her breath slightly unsteady. Special permission? What kind? Permission to only recruit female servants, Sona replied with a smile. You mean? Akira raised an eyebrow. Exactly. I allow you to use any means necessary to grow stronger, to progress together with me, and to achieve our dreams. Finally, to come to the Saitri household and marry me. As an ultimate class devil, Sona didn't mind her partner having relationships with servants. After all, servants were just servants, not the same as the main wife. Now that she had lost her purity before marriage, it was unlikely she would be able to marry anyone else. So, Sona decided to bet everything on Akira. Because, in Sona's eyes, Akira's intelligence, courage, and strength all surpassed hers. She believed in Akira even more than she believed in herself. Sona. Akira stopped caressing Sona's black thigh-high socks and hugged her tightly. He felt that he needed to show some sincerity as well. Then, Akira raised his hand, and the boosted gear instantly materialized. By the way, Sona, how about I give you a gift? Akira, what do you mean? Sona frowned. Sona, if it's discovered that you lost your purity before marriage, you can tell everyone that the boosted gear was my advanced dowry. This way, no one in the underworld will question our relationship, and you likely won't be blamed for losing your purity before marriage. No. I won't accept it. Sona couldn't possibly take Akira's sacred gear. Hear me out before you decide. My sacred gear has mutated. Each dragon soul it absorbs can be shared with someone I approve of. While you use the sacred gear, I can also use it. As long as we don't exceed its power limit, we can use it however we want. Eh? Really? Sona swallowed hard. An ultimate class devil using a longinus was completely different from a human using one. The starting point for an ultimate class devil was the end point for most human sacred gear users. Most sacred gear users couldn't even unleash 50% of their sacred gear's power even with balance breaker. If she and Akira could use it simultaneously, it would be like gaining an additional longinus for their side. Akira. Holding the green jewel Akira gave her, Sona excitedly hugged him. She saw it. She finally saw the hope of achieving her dream. No, not just her dream, but Akira's dream as well. Without saying a word, Akira could feel Sona's excitement through their close contact. Sona, as an ultimate class devil, had a powerful physique, incredible strength, and an intense autonomous response. Before parting, Sona gave Akira a farewell kiss, and the two spent some more time together. Before leaving, Sona was still reluctant to let go. Seeing Sona so attached and entranced, Akira couldn't help but marvel at Hayasaka Nato's exceptional qualities. Both women had established intimate relationships with him after he awakened his higher dimensional bloodline, but Hayasaka Nato handled her attachment and restraint much better than Sona. However, this was natural. A young girl's infatuation and a mature woman's affection manifested their possessiveness in different ways. Letting go of Sona, Akira looked into her captivating eyes and made a promise. Sona, within a year at most, I will come to propose. Okay, I'll be waiting for you, Akira. If possible, I hope you can also win over Ryaz, Sona added with a smile. Huh? Akira raised an eyebrow. I said, I hope you can win over Ryaz as well, Sona repeated. By winning over Ryaz, you'll gain even more support. Having close relationships with the Sisters of Two Satans, the devils of the underworld will see you as the chosen successor of the new Satans. This way, even if you ascend to the position of Satan as a former human, no one will question it. Sona's smile was gentle. After establishing a close bond with Akira, she was able to make decisions completely different from before. What she valued wasn't Ryaz's beauty, but the political significance she represented. After all, even if Akira took Ryaz, Suna would still be the main wife. As long as she was the main wife, nothing else mattered. This was Suna's simple and unadorned way of thinking. Alright, I'll do my best. After saying this, Akira turned and left. Everything that needed to be said had been said. Akira believed that with Suna's intelligence, she would execute their plans flawlessly. Chapter 24, How to Tame a Tsundere Lily. As soon as Akira stepped out of the student council room, he heard a Lily voice calling out to him. Akira-senpai, what were you doing in the student council room just now? Turning around, he was greeted by the sight of an adorable white-haired Lily. This white-haired Lily was none other than Tujukonko, a rook in Ryaz Grimory's peerage. As expected of a Nakamata, skilled in manipulating energy and life force. Even with her mid-tier demon strength, she managed to sneak up on me, a high-tier demon. Konko, did you hear everything? Akira asked with a smile. I did. And what exactly did you hear? Nothing much. Just the sound of Sunakayaku's suppressed yet pleasurable moans. To make someone as noble and beautiful as Sunakayaku make such sounds. Akira-senpai, you truly are something. As she spoke, Konko pulled out a lollipop and bit into it fiercely. Akira could tell she was just teasing him. Konko, you're here because of Ryaz, right? Ryaz-buku asked me to bring you to her. She said that since you've already obtained your pieces, it's time to return your servants to you. My servants? Yes, it's about time. Akira nodded and followed Konko toward the old school building. Along the way, Akira casually cast an appraisal skill on Konko. Name, Tujukonko, level 99, mid-tier demon peak, attribute evaluation, note, strength within the same level, strength, B+, speed, B, magic power, A, physical defense, B+, spell proficiency, B, though talented, she lacks systematic training. With proper guidance, she could soar to new heights, bloodline ability, A+, Nekomata bloodline, one of the top-tier Yukai bloodlines, possessing unparalleled talent in demonic and spiritual arts. Her aptitude for other forms of magic is also top-tier, overall evaluation, A-tier mid-tier demon, final note, a genius of the Nekomata clan. If she trained seriously, she could have already become a high-tier demon. By unlocking her Nekomata bloodline, she could grow at an astonishing rate. Such talent, yet she doesn't train seriously. What a waste. After reading Konko's stats, Akira shook his head. If he had her talent, he would have already mastered Ki by now. Noticing Akira's gaze, Konko turned around, her golden cat-like eyes filled with suspicion. Akira-senpai, your stare feels inappropriate. Inappropriate? Really? Yes, very. Then I apologize for my rudeness. Though I feel like your apology isn't sincere. But I'll forgive you. After all, Akira-senpai has succubus blood. It's normal for someone like you to have dirty thoughts. Just as Konko finished her sharp retort, Akira heard a system notification. Ding, congratulations, host. You've triggered a sign-in event, sign-in level, purple, event type, story sign-in, event, the White Nekomata's new master, event requirement, make Tujukonko, a member of Ryaz Grimory's peerage, your own servant. Expand your peerage roster. Akira pondered for a few seconds. He quickly came up with a plan to make Konko his servant. Back when he had taken the boosted gear from Sai, he had already considered how to recruit Konko. Now, it was time to put that plan into action. It was a perfect plan that would leave everyone satisfied. After finalizing his thoughts, Akira spoke again. Konko, do you know why I was looking at you like that? Because Akira-senpai is a Lilicon pervert? Konko tilted her head innocently. Konko's sharp tongue erased any remaining hesitation in Akira's heart. Such a tsundere deserved to be taught a lesson. Konko, I'm being serious. The reason I was staring is because you remind me of someone I've seen recently. Who do I remind you of? A wanted criminal from the underworld. Konko fell silent, her golden eyes narrowing. Her sister, Kuroka, was indeed a wanted criminal in the underworld, one of the most dangerous stray devils. Hearing Kuroka's name, Konko could no longer maintain her calm demeanor. Had Akira-senpai really seen her sister? And recently? Did that mean Kuroka had already infiltrated Koa Town? Was Kuroka here to take her away? Akira-senpai, what's the name of the person who looks like me? Konko asked cautiously. Her name is Kuroka. Hearing that name, Konko's heart skipped a beat. Akira-senpai, where did you see her? In some documents someone gave me. Who gave you the documents? That's confidential. Akira couldn't exactly say it was Afis who gave him the information, could he? I see. Then, Akira-senpai, you brought this up because you have something to tell me, right? Konko could only assume Akira was hinting at something. You're right, Konko. I do have something to tell you, Akira admitted. What is it? I wanted to let you know that this Kuroka person has some powerful allies. Powerful allies? How powerful? Well, let's see. Not too powerful. Just. Akira began listing them off. Just. One of the two heavenly dragons, the White Dragon Emperor. The monkey who inherited the name of Sun Wukong. The wielder of the Holy King's sword, Caliburn. A mage who can summon powerful Norse golems. People like that, you know. With each name, Konko's eyes widened further. She was genuinely frightened. If her sister's allies were truly that strong, her presence would undoubtedly bring disaster to Ryaz. Chapter 25, The Fate of the Red Dragon Emperor, Gasper's Return. The old school building. Akira and Konko pushed the door open and entered. As Konko's master, Ryaz immediately sensed that something was off with Konko's emotions the moment she saw her. Konko, what's wrong? Ryaz felt a heavy aura emanating from Konko. Konko's gaze was serious as she slowly spoke. President, I want to ask you for a favor. Please, you must agree. What is it? Please. Allow me to leave the Greenery household and become Akira-senpai's servant. Huh? Why? Because. I want to become Akira-senpai's servant. What? Ryaz's red lips parted in shock, and the teacup she had brought to her mouth was forgotten. What kind of joke was this? She had only sent Konko to fetch Akira. How did Akira come back, and now Konko was defecting too? Akira. What exactly did you do to my Konko? Ryaz sharply turned her gaze to Akira. Of course, she wouldn't blame Konko. She would only assume that Akira had somehow tricked her. What did I do? I didn't do much. I just told Konko some facts, Akira replied, shrugging helplessly. What facts? The fact that if she stays by your side, she might bring danger to you. A few minutes later, Akira repeated the explanation he had given to Konko. The White Dragon Emperor, the Holy King's sword, Sun Wukong, and the pure-blooded cat scythe. Ryaz's throat moved several times as she processed these names. These titles were far too renowned. She knew very well that her own title, the Crimson-Haired Ruin Princess, was like paper in front of these figures. President Ryaz, Akira-senpai is right. If I stay by your side, it will be too dangerous for you, Konko said, her eyes downcast and her voice filled with sorrow. But is staying with Akira any better? He's not much stronger than me, is he? Ryaz knew that Akira had defeated Su. However, Akira's Agumen was clearly not at the level of a high-class demon. Both of them were high-class demons. How was Akira any more capable than her? Akira didn't even have the protection of a Mao. Akira-kun and Konko must have reached an agreement for a reason, right? Kano, corrected from Juna, reminded with a gentle smile. As expected of Kano, always so perceptive. Akira smiled faintly and extended his left hand forward. Boost, the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet manifested. Akira-kun. What is this? This is a Longinus the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet. This is the reason Konko wants to become my servant. Throughout history, the White Dragon Emperor and the Red Dragon Emperor have always been destined to fight. That means the White Dragon Emperor will inevitably come for me. Konko's situation is similar. Her sister, Kuroka, will also come for her. So, Konko and I should stick together and face these dangers as one. A Longinus. Indeed, if it's the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet, then it definitely has the power to stand against the White Dragon Emperor. The Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet, the powerful Greyman, and the servants Akira-kun has entrusted to me. Ryaz thought carefully. It seemed that Akira truly had the qualifications to protect Konko. At the very least, he was more qualified than she was. Thud. Konko knelt heavily on the ground, bowing deeply in a doji position as she pleaded with Ryaz. President Ryaz, please allow me to become Akira-senpai's servant. Konko closed her eyes, her lips pressed together tightly. She couldn't repay Ryaz's kindness in time, so the least she could do was take the danger away from her. Konko. You. Ryaz hadn't expected Konko to go this far. Ryaz? If you agree to let Konko join me, I'll help you resolve your engagement issue. Would you accept that condition? Akira offered a deal that Ryaz couldn't refuse. Resolve my engagement issue? You mean you'll fight Ryzer? Ryaz could only think of that. Previously, her deal with Akira was for him to pretend to be in love with her. That only required some words. But now, Akira was offering to solve her engagement problem. Aside from physically defeating Ryaz couldn't think of any other way. Unless she and Akira were to engage in premarital relations? That's right. I'm confident I can defeat Ryzer, Akira nodded. Akira-kun, are you sure you can defeat a Phoenix? If I don't even have the confidence to defeat a Phoenix, how can I hope to defeat the White Dragon Emperor? This question only made Akira laugh. If he couldn't defeat Trizer with a Longinus, then he might as well give up. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. The clock on the wall continued to swing. After a long moment of thought, Ryaz suddenly stood up. She had finally made her decision. Akira-kun. I agree to let Konko become your servant. However, Konko must continue to live by my side. This way, Konko will still be under the protection of the Mao, and she'll be safer. Hearing Ryaz's decision, Konko grew anxious. But President Ryaz? If that's the case, you'll be in danger. Konko, you don't need to worry about that. I'll spread the news that Akira-kun is the Red Dragon Emperor. That way, if anyone comes looking, they'll go after Akira-kun first. Akira-kun, you don't have a problem with that, do you? Ryaz looked at Akira. Of course not. I already said I'd help you resolve your engagement, and in the process, I'll have to use the Red Dragon Emperor's gauntlet. In other words, the leak of the Longinus's existence was inevitable from the start. Good. In that case, let's proceed with the contract. Ryaz took out 2 crimson chess pieces. On the other side of the table, Akira also took out 2 crimson chess pieces. The pieces looked similar, but their essence was completely different. Ryaz's pieces were evil pieces. Akira's pieces were disguised mutation pieces. Soon, the exchange of servant contracts through the pieces was completed. Ryaz, her mood complicated, retrieved her 2 pieces and walked over to a coffin in the corner of the room. Gasper, come out, Akira-kun has obtained his pieces. He's here to take you. Bang. The moment Ryaz finished speaking, the coffin lid flew open. A golden-haired girl with tears in her eyes rushed out. Akira-sama. I finally waited for you to come and get me. Gasper excitedly threw herself into Akira's arms, rubbing her face against his leg. Note, Gasper is a girl, Gasper Vladi. This was another person Akira had intercepted ahead of time. Akira's strength was limited, so he couldn't intervene in every event. He could only do what was within his power. For example, providing information to avoid danger and establishing relationships with certain people in advance. And Gasper was the only servant Akira had actively sought out. There was no helping it, Gasper's talent was simply too strong. If Gasper trained hard, in a few decades, Akira would have a god-class bodyguard. Such a huge return was worth the risk of taking action personally. Gasper was born into a vampire family, a hybrid of vampire and human. She was born with a dangerous sacred gear, forbidden Ballerview, which could stop the time of people or objects. Because she couldn't control her unstable sacred gear, she was despised, feared, and rejected by her family. They didn't recognize her as a vampire, seeing her only as a monster. In the original story, Gasper escaped the vampire territory and lived briefly in human society. During this time, she was found by Ryaz, who used a mutation piece to reincarnate her as her bishop. But now, Akira, knowing this information in advance, searched the human areas near the vampire territory. And so, Akira found Gasper before Ryaz could. However, because Gasper's sacred gear was indeed dangerous and Akira didn't have evil pieces at the time, he decided to entrust Gasper to Serafal. Serafal was not only powerful but also had many vacant servant slots. Plus, she was his fiancée, making her the perfect candidate to entrust Gasper to. Such a convenient fiancée, why not use her? However, Serafal refused to take Gasper as her servant and instead recommended Ryaz. Reluctantly, Akira had to entrust Gasper to Ryaz, promising to take her back once he obtained his pieces. It had been a long time since Akira had seen Gasper. From the softness he felt as Gasper clung to him, Akira could tell that Gasper had truly grown. At least, physically, she had definitely grown. Chapter 26, The Candidates for the Pet Collar. The room was bathed in a soft, crimson glow as Akira stood before Gasper Vladi, his newly reclaimed familiar. The young vampire, with her golden hair and timid demeanor, stood at attention, her crimson eyes shining with determination. All right, Gasper, from now on, you are officially my familiar, Akira declared, his voice calm yet commanding. He gently ruffled her hair and pinched her smooth cheek, a gesture that made her blush slightly. During the time I left you under Ryaz's care, did you train diligently? He asked, his silver eyes piercing through her. Yes, Lord Akira. Gasper replied, standing straight. For your dream and to fulfill what I couldn't before, I've been training hard. Akira smiled, pleased with her response. He cast a quick appraisal skill to check her progress. Name, Gasper Vladi, level 125, Mateer High Class Demon, Attribute Evaluation, Note, Strength within the same level, Strength, D, Speed, C, Magic, C+, Durability, D, Technique Proficiency, C, no talent for martial arts, but shows promise in vampire and dark type spells, Bloodline Ability, SS+, Vampire Bloodline, as a half-human, half-vampire hybrid, Gasper possesses vampiric traits and abilities, such as transforming into bats and growing stronger by drinking blood. Sacred gear, forbidden Balor view, a time manipulation sacred gear derived from the power of the demon god Balor. It can freeze time within the user's line of sight. Reincarnation of Balor, Gasper harbors the latent power of the demon god Balor. Her sacred gear is a manifestation of Balor's eyes of death perception. In extreme situations, she can summon dark beasts of the night, entities capable of bypassing even the strongest defenses and inflicting irreversible damage. Overall evaluation, SS tier high-class demon, final assessment, a vampire with limitless potential. Once she fully awakens Balor's power, she will undoubtedly become a top-tier powerhouse, high-class demon strength. It seems you've been working hard, Gasper, Akira said, patting her head. Even without relying on his system, he knew Gasper's potential would ensure his success, even if he lost his status as a heir to the Leviathan clan. He handed her a mutated evil piece, which glowed with a deep red light as it merged with her. The room was filled with an overwhelming aura as Gasper's power surged. This feeling. Gasper's eyes widened as her energy skyrocketed, breaking through to the ultimate class demon level. Whoosh! 10 demonic wings unfurled from her back, leaving everyone in the room except Akira stunned. Gasper, why do you have 10 wings? Ryaz exclaimed. 10 wings were a sign of potential beyond even the Ma'au level. I don't know. I just felt this power surging within me, and then they appeared, Gasper replied meekly. And your current strength? Ryaz pressed. Ultimate class demon, Gasper whispered. Akira. What's going on? Ryaz turned to him, her voice filled with urgency. Akira smirked, his expression calm and confident. Ryaz, this is my newly awakened ability, purification and evolution. My evil pieces have evolved, allowing me to maximize the potential of my familiars. He had no reason to hide this from Ryaz, as they were already allies. However, his true trump card, the awakening of his high-dimensional Leviathan bloodline, remained a secret. If your pieces have evolved, then Konko can also, Ryaz began, her voice trembling with excitement. Exactly. Konko can unlock her true potential as well, Akira confirmed. He turned to Konko, who had been silently observing. Konko, are you willing to awaken your powers? If you're still hesitant about your Nekozu bloodline, I won't force you. Konko's eyes hardened as she stepped forward. Akira-senpai. I'm ready. Gasper is stronger than me now, and I trust her to stop me if I lose control. Besides, I believe in you. If you could guide Gasper and Aguman, you can guide me too. She took the pawn piece from Akira's hand. Moments later, her energy surged, reaching the peak of high-class demon level, on the verge of breaking into ultimate class. Akira-senpai, I'll work hard to grow stronger. I won't hold you back, Konko said, her competitive spirit ignited. The once timid girl who bullied Gasper with garlic was now determined to catch up. As Konko completed the familiar contract, Akira heard the familiar chime of his system. Ding! Congratulations, host, for completing the sign-in mission, sign-in level, purple, event, the White Cat Demon's new master, reward, 3 pet collars, pet collar description, a collar that reverses casualty. The one who wears it becomes the host's pet, not the other way around. Can transform into any accessory, such as a necklace or pendant, or even become invisible. Note, the target must not resist when the collar is applied. Akira stared at the reward, a mix of amusement and self-awareness crossing his face. Well, I guess I'm fully embracing the role of a villain now, he thought. But if I'm going to be a villain, I might as well go all out. His mind quickly began listing potential candidates for the collars. Chapter 27, Greyfire's arrival. While Akira remained silent, the atmosphere on Ryaz's side was anything but quiet. Ryaz, unable to hold back her tears after seeing her beloved Konko become someone else's familiar,